Sir, you're charged with especially aggravated kidnapping. You're also charged with aggravated assault, and you're charged with theft of a firearm worth less than $2,500.
You're talking about stuff that is not relevant.
Hello and welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. I am the Recovery Addict, and boy do I have a case for you today.
Why is the dog chewing on this guy?
I think they have got the wrong guy there.
Got the wrong guy. The dog was biting him.
He roughing him up quite a bit. There's a lawsuit.
This is the next search on February 28, 2020, 7:44 p.m. How, period, does the FBI find people? The people is misspelled P-E-O-O-P-L-E. Did the defendant find out how the FBI finds people in this case? Oh, she found out.
Good morning. Welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. I am the Recovery Addict. Thank you for joining me this morning. It is going to be a beautiful Wednesday. Absolutely wonderful. We're super excited because I've got something special for you right at the very beginning. Oh my goodness. Yesterday we had 2 police chases in a row. There were actually three. There were 3, and I'm bringing you the third one in all its glory with every angle synced together so you can watch it from 3 different views. It's going to be a blast. We're going to kick the day off with that. Then, of course, we're going into court hopping as we are preparing. Well, it's almost the 4th of July. It's practically a holiday today. And so most courts are not doing much. There's going to be a little bit, probably another drug court with Judge Brantley Clark we might jump into. Might have some of the other usuals and stuff, but yeah, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. Anyway, welcome. Good morning. So glad that all of you are here. I have to just say right now,
Mike. What day is it, Mike? Guess what today is?
It's Hump Day.
Hump Day! Welcome to Wednesday. That's all I've got in me. I don't have any water, so if I kill my voice, then we're ruined. So that's all I got. It is Hump Day. I'm super excited to kick off Hump Day, as tomorrow's a holiday as well, a national holiday. Let's see. We have, what is that doing on there? I don't need that one. Let me close that one out. Too many things open. That's not good. Okay. We are, wait. I'm trying to click on a little button that I cannot see. There he is. Got it. Nope. There we go. Okay. Chase is all synced up. I know all my start points. The only thing I haven't done is decide how I want to begin showing it. It's going to start with a 1 box, then a 2 box, probably like that, then a 3 box, like so. Yeah, we're good. And maybe even do 4. We'll do it. We'll get this running. All right. So before we kick off the police chase, we have to do what we normally do in the morning, which is welcome all of y'all to here. So welcome. If I didn't welcome you before, I did now. Welcome especially to Kimar, who is first in chat this morning. First in chat gets punished every day. It was quiet this morning. We were all relaxing. Then Kim bursts into the chat room and says, hi, and breaks the silence. And look what happened since then. It's been nonstop chatter. So as punishment for that, first of all, Kim, you're responsible for everything that happens in chat. And you're responsible for the internet as a whole. So we're going to go ahead and gift you the internet. That's our gift to you. All you have to do, it's like immunity. It's not something you want. We just decided to give it to you, and you have to receive it. So we're going to gift it to you, and you get it just like Mr. Copeland did in the YSL, the Young Thug trial. And now you have to just maintain the internet for everybody else. And if this is the last live stream we do before the holiday, you have to work over the holiday. It's just the way it is. Don't complain about it. It's the way it is. And civil law was in chat says, there are other courts now? I thought all there was Karen Reed. Yeah, we've just got a big, long, a big break till July 22nd in Karen Reed's, and then we're going to continue that one, apparently. It's weird to not have Karen Reed happening right now. But there are some other courts we're going to jump into. The Young Thug trial is on a hiatus, a permanent hold, while another judge decides if Judge Granville needs to move his grass, move his butt is what out of the court case, get him recused from the case. Lots of things happening, lots of fun stuff all over. We do have to also check for birthdays this morning. Let me look and see if we have anybody who is doing birthdays. I'm so excited to show you this live stream. Not the live stream, but the police chase. This is a good one. I know it's a good one because it involves a bus. and we have it from 3 angles, and we'll sync it all up so you can see it in all its glory. Where's my dolphin? Says Kamara. I can see your dolphin here. I don't know. Did we ever give you a dolphin? Did you want a dolphin? I'm sure you wanted a dolphin. The problem is we had a moment in time where the channel exploded in popularity, and memberships on the channel reached an all-time high very briefly, and then they fell back down to a much more normal level. I made emojis based on how many YouTube allowed me to have at the all-time high, and now if I change the emojis, if I change them, they say, oh, you don't have enough members now to justify that many emojis, and so I can't do any more emojis until we get big. That's the way it is. Let's see. Let me check and see if we had any birthday submissions at all this morning. When you showed the first image, the image was just yellow. This one? Weird. Okay, dolphin's back. I see the dolphin now. Sharon McDonald comes in and says, we have some birthdays today. Josh Hutchings. Josh, good to us. Josh has great tips, by the way. He's always letting me know what's going on in the world of true crime and saying, hey, check out this timestamp. And I appreciate that. That helps a ton. PJ Oscar, who's 90. Ariona. I'm going to say Ariona, who's 16. Ooh, big 16. Stay off the sidewalks. All celebrating birthdays today. So we're going to sing Josh, PJ, Oscar, and Ariona. You did get my message. I watched it with another streamer, but I was so tired. I was in my PJs, first of all, and I've never streamed in my PJs before. And I decided not to make an exception yesterday. And I said, you know what? This one can wait. This one can wait, especially because we were going to sync in the 3 footages. Because a good chase from 3 angles, that's what I like. So it takes till the following morning to put all those pieces together. We're here now. We've got it. We'll watch it as if it's live, but it happened last night. So let's without further ado, let's get ready for the birthday song. You know the words. It's very simple. We've sung it every day for almost a year now. I would like you to join me. This is not me singing to these 4 people. This is you singing with me. It's the world's largest birthday choir. So get up, stretch, roll back the shoulders a little bit. Warm up with me, if you will. La 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 la. Beautiful. Okay. Deep breath, shoulders back. Project your voice to the back of the room. Blend your voice with that of your neighbors. We're singing happy birthday to Josh, PJ, Oscar, and Ariona. Dancers at the ready? Here we go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Josh, PJ, Oscar, and Ariona. Happy birthday to you. Josh, PJ, Oscar, and Ariona, today is your special day. Thank you for sharing it with us. The privilege and pleasure is all ours. Thank you. Hopefully you enjoy it as well, though. If there's anything we do to make your day a little bit specialer, let us know. Also, help yourself to free pancakes at IHOP or Denny's or wherever other facility business serves free pancakes on your birthday. I would just ride that train as far as they will let you. Free pancakes are a thing. I highly encourage it. So thank you. Have a wonderful birthday. Have a wonderful birthday, people. Excellent. And big 16. 16's an amazing birthday. Ariona, just for you, I'm going to schedule fireworks all over the nation tonight, tomorrow. We're going to do fireworks shows, if that's all right. Those are for you. That's my gift to you. The rest of you can accept that as a gift as well. So that's what we do. Speaking of fireworks, as we fade out the music, but the party does not stop. Speaking of fireworks, I went to Mrs. R.A. and said, actually, let me correct this. Mrs. R.A. came to me and said, do you think we should get fireworks this year? And of course, there's only one answer. There's only one answer to, do you think we should buy fireworks this year? And I said, oh, of course. Of course, it's 4th of July. I think we should get fireworks. Normally we don't. Normally we go to a fireworks show. Me being the overprotective parent that I am, sparklers scare the daylights out of me. It's like little kids running around with welding rods. It's just not a thing. But now that my kids are getting older, I'm thinking, yeah, I think they can handle it, right? So I'm like, yeah, let's do it. I'm finally on board with let's get some fireworks. The kids are going to enjoy this. And so I drive down to Sam's Club, where they have a huge circus tent set up in the parking lot. And it's got TNT fireworks and anything that's like TNT. It's basically like you're buying dynamite, right? So I'm like, yes, this is going to be good. I walk in there and I am blown away by the prices. Okay. A little tiny firework is like $40. And they're like, here's a video of how long it lasts. You scan the QR code and you watch the video. It's like 18 seconds long. And I'm like, I just spent $40 on 18 seconds of smoke. It better be some good. No, never mind. I'm just saying that if the prices just blew me away. And I'm like, okay, look, my kids like the poppets. Okay, they're safe. They're wrapped in a little paper. You throw them at the ground, they go bang. It's a little novelty noise maker. There's almost no chance of fire unless they like throw it like a pool of gasoline and somehow it explodes. But the chance of fire is very low. You might, get something in your eye, but that's about the worst. So I'm like, let's do this. I'm going to go to the poppets, and they come in boxes of 50. And I say, how much per case? Okay, because I'm going big, right? I've got a lot of kids. I can't just buy like a box of 50 little poppets and then be done. So I'm like, how much per case? Now, this is the point where I have to say, hold please, because I have to show you something. So I say, how much per case? A case holds 40 boxes. They look like this. They're poppets. Each box is little tiny. Oh, the kids already rated this one. There's one missing. Each box holds 40. And I go up and they say they're $3.60 for 3 boxes. There are 40 boxes in each one. We do the math. It comes out to about $48, 52 plus with tax or something. $52 per box of this. And I say, no, call me un-American, but I am not paying that much for fireworks, for little noisemakers, okay? So I go inside Sam's Club. Inside Sam's Club, they have a big display that says TNT fireworks, and they have the boxes of poppets for sale for $9.98 a case. And I said, I will take 5 of those because that's how much I would have spent on one box. And then I'm going to walk out to the fireworks stand, and I'm going to show the guy what I bought and tell him how much I paid for them. 50 feet from his circus tent. And I did it. Unfortunately, the kids have already popped 2 boxes, so I only have 3 left. But that's what we did. The kids love poppets. So I went out there, and in all fairness, I did say to him, look, your prices are ridiculous. That $350 case of fireworks with little sparklers, they're selling inside for $110. It's just, you're getting ripped off. And I said, look, if I were you, I would go in Sam's Club and I would buy every single one of those poppets boxes from Sam's Club's display and then bring them out here because they're going to be sold out and then you're going to sell out and everyone's going to pay your $52 per box and everyone will be happy. And that's what he did. He called his friend to come watch his store so we could go inside and buy the rest of the display in Sam's Club so that they would have to come out to him. Anyway, fun stuff. All right. That's my fireworks story. I missed a couple messages. Now I'm hot and bothered now. Kim R. gifted membership first thing this morning. Thank you very much. Uncivil Law says I spent 6 hours dissecting the SCOTUS presidential immunity decision yesterday. My brain is melt. How long to unmelt? Man, that was a big one. I saw part of you. I saw I think Danny on Direct was looking at that as well. There was a lot. Obviously, we're Pickles, not politics, so we're trying to skirt around that one, pretend nothing happened, but it does. It's major. And I encourage everyone to do it off this channel to look into that. Regina Crawford says, thank you to you and your mods for making this channel so amazing. Regina, it's only amazing because of great people like you. It wouldn't be the same without you. Thank you so much for being here. Love it. I also bought like 2 cases of sparklers. We have 10,000 poppets. And I don't know how many sparklers, but they come in cases about the same size. And I think it's like 40 boxes per case. So we have 80 boxes of sparklers. I didn't ruin it for everybody. I just ruined it for people in Greenville, North Carolina who wanted cheap poppets at Sam's Club. and they had their chance. I mean, they've been for sale there for, I don't know, a week. So it's only the people who neglected to buy them before I did that lose out. And, you know, for the right price, I'd be willing to sell the boxes that I have. So, all right. Now, with that said, let's, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump to this police chase. It takes a little bit of technical work on my side because not all the helicopters arrive at the police chase at the same time. So I have to start different things. I've actually got a rundown where I've like said, okay, start camera 3, ABC 7 here, start camera 7, KCAL here, start camera 2, Fox 11 here. So I have to like mix and match and play. And during the whole thing, because I'm using this this live stream also dual purpose to test my replay unit, I'm recording. I'm doing what's called an ISO record, which means I'm recording as of right now. You see that little red light, the light lit up right there. I'm now recording 8 different channels simultaneously to a USB drive, which is now linked to my replay, which I can replay live. So it's good fun. So while we're burning gigabytes of storage space, and I'm going to use this to play with a switcher that enables me to do replay in a cool way, probably off air, and then we'll show you later on. We get to start a bus chase. So that starts on camera 3 with audio. I've got too many keyboards. It's going to go something like, where's camera 3? There it is. You guys want to see it as well? Here we go. Please play. There we go. It could be small in the corner here. We'll get some bus
Welcome
music.
to ABC 7's live coverage of a pursuit, a fairly erratic pursuit of this white small passenger bus. We understand this is a children's hospital bus, originally out of the Hollywood area. LAPD Hollywood Division started this pursuit because this bus was stolen, possibly from Children's Hospital. We do believe that all occupants of the bus were able to get out of the bus before the driver took off with the bus, and since then we've seen some very erratic driving across the
big
North
white
Hollywood
bus
area.
Is not.
The driver has been driving around Burbank, driving around surface streets in North Hollywood. We saw some erratic driving.
No kids on the bus. No kids on the bus, by the way.
And now we're using the middle of lanes here on Colfax Avenue through North Hollywood. And this is a very narrow stretch of North Hollywood and a very residential area. Not a lot of traffic up ahead, but oh my gosh, you could see traffic just kind of pulling off to either side because they're hearing those lights and sirens. And this is the type of pursuit that LAPD is not going to want to get off of, because part of the safety measures, as we see this driver going using the center median there to get around traffic, part of what's actually helpful is other drivers seeing those lights and hearing those sirens, and that helps to let them know to get out of the way, although you see some people not really hearing what's around them and being a little slow to get out of the way, because that's the best thing you can do in this situation. Don't try and help, don't try and block, just get out of the way. That's the best thing you can do for police to stay safe.
Don't be the hero, the bus will win.
This white passenger van out of Children's Hospital make a sharp right turn, turning westbound now on Burbank Boulevard, getting onto one of the on-ramps here. I believe that's going to be for the northbound 170, using both lanes, not really sticking to one lane, using a little bit of the right shoulder there as well. Just very odd, very erratic driving. You can see there the driver wearing a white or beige top, kind of fidgeting around, maybe a yellow shirt there, fidgeting around now.
Okay,
one
other
hand on the
camera's
steering
inbound
wheel.
right now. Other helicopter. Give me a minute. We're going to sync it up.
Not really keeping to one lane, swerving onto the main lines of the 170
Once you've stolen
freeway.
the bus, why worry about lane positioning?
To get off on, I believe that's Victory, but now we're continuing on the northbound 170. Staying in that slow lane for now, speeding up to 75, almost 80 miles an hour. And now all of a sudden we're seeing the driver hold to one lane, and just as I say that, the driver swerves to an exit. This is going to be the Victory off-ramp, I believe.
Victory! That doesn't necessarily mean he's going to get away, but...
And there's a few options here. This driver could go east or westbound on Victory. There's some sharp turns. This is one of those very sharp turns, and that bus surprisingly handles it even at those high speeds, above 50 miles an hour.
Those buses are
LAPD
built
still
for speed.
staying very close behind this bus. It looks like we're going to end up going westbound on Victory. Those LAPD units staying right there behind them, going under the bridge, continuing out westbound Victory. And now we're getting back onto the freeway. This really appears that this driver has no idea where they're going. They are using various freeways, various on-ramps and off-ramps, and just appears to be out for almost a joyride. Just enjoying his last few minutes of freedom. Now we're back on that southbound 170 freeway. And swerving, on the right side, off the shoulder. And now we're off-roading in this bus that is clearly not supposed to be off-roading off the freeway. I'm not sure if there's a curb there, and the bus hops the curb almost like it's no big deal. Going the wrong way on that off-ramp. There's oncoming traffic. That's a very narrow off-ramp. Cars swerving to avoid this gigantic bus, and these cars have no idea that this bus is coming right towards them. Thankfully, I don't think the bus made impact with many of those vehicles, although that was a very close call. We're going the wrong way on Victory Boulevard a little bit there. Now we're going the right way. This bus just kind of swerving on all sides.
You knew it was coming, right?
Making very erratic maneuvers. It really makes you wonder what state of mind this driver is in, making a sharp right turn onto one of the side roads here that parallels with Victory Boulevard. On the north side of Victory Boulevard. Swerving into some more oncoming traffic there. Looks like that's Bel Air Avenue. Now we're deep into residential Valley Glen. Those LAPD officers are having a hard time with keeping tabs on where this bus is on the ground. The air unit has this bus from the air, but those LAPD units on the ground were stuck on the freeway. Bus hopping the curb there as we go onto Kittredge Street.
See, I think the 2 has a better image.
Once again, these are narrow residential streets, and we've seen how aggressive and how erratic this bus driver has been driving right now. Hopping another curb there. The bus slowing through the intersection a little bit, probably because of that traffic in front of them. Archwood and Welby, very residential. Late in the afternoon on a summer night, you have to wonder if people will be out in the street just enjoying the evening.
They're waiting for the bus.
Now,
all aboard the party bus.
Archwood and Whitsett Avenue now. Those officers on the ground want to stay close behind this bus because
how do you lose the bus? I mean, how does the bus lose the police?
And the erratic driving that we've been seeing so far. They want to make sure that everybody around this bus knows that there's something going on. There's something about this bus that needs to be avoided. Van Owen westbound now.
Oh my goodness.
You have that one LAPD unit and more even further back trying to catch up. But right now it's just that one LAPD unit behind the bus that's picking up speed.
The sky has got to be so busy.
60 miles an hour down Van Owen. Using that middle lane around some traffic there. There's a little bit of traffic up ahead. An intersection with a red light. We'll see what this driver does as we approach that intersection. Slowing down through traffic, and the bus is just going to fly through the intersection. Wow. Luckily, there's no cross traffic there. Van Owen and Coldwater. If you're in this part of the valley, do not get out onto the roadways because it's just too dangerous right now. We do not know what this bus driver is capable of with this very erratic and very dangerous driving. Continuing westbound on Van Owen Street through Valley Glen. We're getting a little further from that 170 now, which this driver seemed to favor earlier on in this pursuit before we saw that wild move going off-road. Crossing Van Owen and Fulton. We have some cross traffic coming. That red truck screeches to a stop and seems to avoid any danger there. Now we're going southbound here. 2 LAPD units now behind this bus.
This doesn't help. Let's see. There's a wide view. Zoom back in close up.
Still at high rates of speed. This is not a road, Fulton Avenue. This is not a road that you want to be going more than 50 miles an hour down. As we fly through this intersection, Victory and Fulton, now eastbound Victory. The speeds that we're seeing through these quiet valley streets is very dangerous and very unusual. It's times like these we wonder what the motive is, what this person's thinking, what their reasoning is for driving like this. Whether it's just trying to get away or just trying to
there's no excuse
enjoy their last few minutes of freedom.
On the bus.
That LAPD
Seriously,
unit is
the bus was like his best
2
idea
units that are
out
right
of all
behind
the
this
cars.
pursuit. Other units are
Wasn't
trying
like a
their best
Tesla
to
or
catch
something
up,
you could borrow?
but because of this erratic driving, they are a little bit further behind right now. Sylvan Street westbound, very residential.
There's
some cul-de-sacs in this area, so if the driver is not completely familiar with it, we might see this end up in a cul-de-sac.
Completely residential here.
Toll and Sylvan, no cul-de-sacs on this stretch, at least in the near vicinity. If the driver continues, he'll be able to get off on one of the major streets. But it looks like, okay, eastbound on Irwin. Running through that stop sign. Now southbound again. Looks like southbound on Ethel. Oxnard will be the next cross. Ethel. The next major cross. We have more LAPD units, a number of LAPD units joining the pursuit here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units I see now that are catching up with this pursuit.
I'm beginning to wonder what it would take to actually have the LAPD continue a pursuit.
Ethel and Oxnard running that red light, continuing eastbound
beyond
now.
when it got dangerous. Because we had murder suspects earlier today.
That one driver trying to pull over, he gets over.
We're
the
allowed
bus
to
continues.
sort of just go on without them. They went to surveillance mode. Now we have somebody who steals a children's hospital bus.
Curbs. The driver seems to love hugging the curbs. We've seen him hopping multiple curbs.
It's not that he loves to hug the curbs. It's that he's not used to driving a vehicle that's this big.
Squeezing by on that right side, hopping that curb, just like we were just saying. Continuing southbound now on Coldwater. LA Valley College right in the vicinity here, although it doesn't look like there's too many people there at this moment. There is some traffic there at the intersection. That's going to be Coldwater Avenue and Burbank Boulevard. We'll see what the driver does when he gets to that intersection.
I'm guessing he just keeps driving.
And we're making a right turn now. Right turn on Burbank Boulevard, heading westbound now, passing LA Valley College. And possibly jumping the median? No, I'm not sure if there was a median there, but definitely making a U-turn. And, might have sideswiped that vehicle there. Now traveling southbound on one of the side streets there and back onto Coldwater Canyon. Continuing southbound on Coldwater Canyon.
I like the name of the road. Coldwater Canyon.
Coldwater eventually connects with the 101 freeway, if that's something that this bus driver is thinking about doing. Running that red light, flying through Chandler Boulevard. Up next is Magnolia. We'll see what this driver does at that intersection. It looks like they have a green, so this driver will be able to go through that intersection. And we're swerving to the left, almost cutting off some other traffic there and sideswiping some traffic on Magnolia. Now we're going eastbound on Magnolia. Every time you think there's a pattern with this pursuit so far, this driver does something erratic and unusual.
That makes it hard to do stop sticks. So let's see what the other people are saying here. Let's see. 7, not showing audio. Camera 2.
We're flying down Magnolia Boulevard, back eventually towards the 170. And just as I say that, we're making a right turn on Whitsett. Southbound on Whitsett now.
No other audio from the other channels right now.
Whitsett Avenue southbound. There's no entrance to the 101 from Whitsett, but the driver could end up on Riverside Drive, which is a major east-west thoroughfare through the southern part of the San Fernando Valley. We're slowing, luckily, as we enter this intersection. He had a green there, but he almost chooses intentionally to cut off traffic and then make a left turn there. Now eastbound on Riverside Drive.
Lots of trees here. I'm trying to find the angle that has the best view of the bus. There we go. Oh, curb once again.
Southbound on Vantage Avenue, another very narrow residential street. Running through the stop signs, making a right turn on Blix Street. These are going to be very narrow streets.
His arms are going to be sore.
Trying to figure out if that's a dead-end street. I don't think it is. I believe this driver will be able to get out, and there it is on St. Clair Avenue. He can get back on Riverside there.
It's a nice pool in the backyard there.
And that's apparently what this driver is going to do. Now, westbound Riverside Drive.
That was a big U-turn.
LAPD staying close behind this one. I think that was a CHP unit as well. CHP has definitely been alerted to this because they don't know if this guy is going to get back on the freeway. He has been on the freeway before. But we've been staying on surface streets for the past few minutes. You see that air unit from LAPD staying right overhead.
I'm surprised he didn't blow a tire going off-road.
On Riverside Drive, passing Whitsett. There's a couple apartment buildings here that are a few stories tall. We'll move Air 7 to get out of the way of those. And we'll be able to see this van continuing westbound on Riverside Drive. Not a lot of traffic on Riverside Drive, almost all the way down to the Sherman Oaks area. It's a very quick thoroughfare for people to get past traffic on the 101.
That was
approaching Coldwater Canyon. And there's a red light. There's cross traffic. We'll see what this bus does as that cross traffic comes. It looks like he's just going to force his way through that intersection. And those other vehicles luckily try to stop. And it looks like we avoid a crash there at what could have been something really nasty. Continuing westbound Riverside Drive, now in Sherman Oaks.
I almost made a joke that was political, and I refrained right there.
Copy. It's sounding like, to my surprise really, that LAPD is deciding to cancel the ground units. They're pulling off this pursuit on the ground, and they're just going to track from the air. Running that red light there, crossing Riverside Drive, or continuing westbound on Riverside Drive. You could really go either way on that decision to keep police units behind this bus so that the community is aware that there's a bus driving erratically through their area, or you decide to pull the ground units off the pursuit and hope that the driver drives less erratically. And that's the decision that has been made right now, and they're hoping, LAPD is hoping that that is the right decision. Right now we're watching this vehicle, this bus, once again stolen from Children's Hospital. We believe this is a Children's Hospital bus making a right turn northbound on Woodman Avenue from Riverside Drive. And it does appear that the driver seems to be calming down a little bit and driving a little less erratically. We see, see him hopping another curb there. That makes me wonder if this is a person that has very little experience driving a vehicle of this size. You see a lot of curbs being hopped, a lot of things being very close to being sideswiped.
Waits for the police.
Crossing
doesn't see
right
them.
in the path of other traffic there.
Goes again.
So you have to wonder a couple of things: the mental state of this driver, what their intentions are, and what experience they have driving a large vehicle like this, if any. Judging by what we know about
Did he
this,
just do a what if any?
Northbound on Woodman, passing.
Did we just
Addison,
get a what if any from Stu? Is this
judging
Stu?
by what we know, that
Stu.
this is possibly a stolen bus from Children's Hospital. This is one of those buses that Children's Hospital uses to transport patients and family of patients. Judging by what we know in terms of that, it does make it seem like this is somebody with no connection to the hospital, possibly.
So he's now confirmed he doesn't have any police behind him.
Does not have any experience driving a bus like this. That's the impression that I get, just seeing what we've seen so far, the very erratic driving, the lack of an ability to handle a bus like this as we continue northbound on Woodman Avenue, passing Chandler. And we're really seeing LAPD's decision to pull off on the ground work out exactly how they wanted it to. They pulled off the ground units. They were hoping to see a little bit more relaxed driving, and we saw that for a little bit, although now we're using that center median lane again, although it looks like he's actually using that for the purpose that it's there for, making a left turn westbound on Burbank Boulevard, kind of straddling that line between Sherman Oaks and Valley Glen. If we push in on the driver, you can see there he's an individual with a yellow shirt, I believe. We did see earlier he was doing a lot of fidgeting around.
Looks like he's wearing a backpack.
In various places of his driver area. And we're seeing that again. Using both lanes there on a part of Burbank Boulevard where you have 2 lanes in each direction. Continuing through the Hazleton intersection, still on Burbank Boulevard westbound.
Blows my mind that you can have 3 of these in one day in one part of the country. This is just... Oh, man.
Now, I think I saw earlier the bus driver using his signal lights, which is...
It was an accident.
Something we didn't see earlier.
It needs a sticker on the back that says, "Warning, this bus does not stop for intersections."
Still westbound Burbank Boulevard, now in the Sherman Oaks area.
It looks like he previously hit or damaged the driver's side rear view or driver's side mirrors.
If we continue further down this way, we'll
so
hit
he
the
might not have a
405.
good view of what's behind him. It's not like the rear view mirror inside the bus is extremely useful. There might be a camera. Oh, it does
now in Van
almost
Nuys.
stop.
This is the Van Nuys Boulevard, Burbank Boulevard intersection.
Stop.
Making a right turn there, so now we're going northbound Van Nuys Boulevard.
I think I saw motion on the tires. There was more motion on that than on John O'Keefe's car tire. So I think.
And again, we're hugging that right shoulder, driving in the bike lane instead of the regular lanes of traffic. And I do see one LAPD unit and another LAPD unit a good distance behind the bus. So they're in the area. They know where this guy is, and they're keeping a close eye on him, even from the ground. We're now going southbound on an alleyway from Hatteras, and that LAPD unit is right behind him. We'll see if the behavior of this bus driver changes. No lights and sirens, because we're technically in tracking mode.
Yeah, he's like on his bumper.
But of course, considering the size of the vehicle and the danger that it may pose, that LAPD unit is going to keep a close eye on this bus no matter what, even if they're technically in tracking mode. This alleyway does not continue all the way through to a street. He's going to need to make a left turn there. And we're basically in a shopping center parking lot. Still near the intersection of Burbank Boulevard and Van Nuys Boulevard. Now back onto Tilden, driving around some cross traffic there. This is going to be Burbank Boulevard, and we'll see what the driver does back at the Burbank Boulevard, Van Nuys Boulevard intersection. Making a right turn again and hopping the curb again.
That was close.
Getting right up close to that other oncoming traffic.
Now lights are on. Does that mean we're out of tracking mode again?
And now this LAPD unit has his lights and sirens back on now. I believe the top of that LAPD car says 09, which would be a Van Nuys unit.
This was the third pursuit from yesterday. This is last night's pursuit out of California. We just put it together with all three
so it looks
chopper
like
views.
The
so
Van Nuys division of LAPD is now taking this pursuit into their hands. This did start in Hollywood. It was a Hollywood division pursuit, and now Van Nuys division LAPD officers are taking this back into pursuit mode, continuing northbound on Van Nuys Boulevard. Slowing through the intersection a little bit. Passing Van Nuys City Hall. There's
I messed it up. I tried to fix it.
A few major
broke it.
intersections up ahead that I'm curious to see what this driver does as we go through those intersections. I believe that was a green light there. Another green light up ahead. Van Nuys Boulevard and Friar Street. And then Van Nuys Boulevard and Victory Boulevard. We've been on Victory Boulevard a lot in this pursuit, but we're just going to cross right through it and keep on going forward.
There's a bigger bus if you want to upgrade. Nope. He's happy with what he's got. Lost some audio there for a minute.
Okay. Van Nuys Boulevard and Kittredge now, making a right turn on Kittredge.
Car chose poorly, moved out in front of him.
And it sounds like now even the Van Nuys division LAPD officers have been told to stand down from this pursuit on the ground. They will continue to track from the air, continuing eastbound on Kittredge, back in these narrow residential streets. There's quite a few of these across the San Fernando Valley. Northbound Sylmar from Kittredge Avenue. At this point, the bus driver looks lost. It seems like he has no real sense of direction. He's just kind of driving around, hopping curbs as he goes. I think that there has to be a record for most curbs hopped in a pursuit. There's been a lot of them in this one. Oh, I thought that cross traffic was coming up really fast, but it looks like the bus came to a stop just on the other side of that building, thankfully.
How fortuitous.
And now we're going eastbound on Van Owen. Northbound Lenox. I'm really glad that bus came to a stop before crossing Van Owen. But this is what I was worried about here. You have parts of the valley where a lot of people are just out enjoying a summer night, crossing the street, and there may be a lot of pedestrians in this area.
Get full screen on both.
And the bus appears to be...
Oh, backing up.
He was going to make a left turn on Hart.
He took a wrong turn.
But decides against it and
he threw
continues
that thing in
down
reverse
Lenox
pretty
Avenue.
quick.
That was an interesting
Clearly it's an automatic
maneuver there. Unsure why the driver did that. And now a left turn on Vose. There's some traffic there in the way. Are the bus doors open? It looks like the doors, the driver's opening and closing the doors.
Yes, he's fanning the doors. Maybe he doesn't know how to work the air conditioner.
Very close to the curb there, crossing back onto Van Nuys Boulevard, making a northbound turn now.
There's the eye clinic. Maybe he's just late for an appointment.
Still hugging that right side shoulder.
He's letting traffic pass him, which is a rookie move.
Getting past Sherman Way, continuing past Sherman Way, still on Van Nuys Boulevard northbound.
Oh, look, you got yourself boxed in.
Some pedestrians in the sidewalk there.
Have no idea what's going on.
Now, earlier when this pursuit started, the information that we originally had was that Hollywood Division officers from LAPD started this pursuit after apparently they received word that this bus was stolen from Children's Hospital. We have no indication that there are other people on this bus. So we can only hope that there were either, if there were people on the bus earlier, they got off in time.
It's just about clipping the curb. He's so far.
Or there were no people on the bus to begin with. This is one of those buses with those tinted windows, so it's hard to see inside from this angle.
Oh, wait, is he going to
But
stash
we're
it under the
continuing
bridge?
northbound
Nope,
Van Nuys
keeps
Boulevard.
going. Oh, there's a train.
In the Panorama City area
There's
now.
a train.
Now,
Oh,
we're really seeing a
pedestrian.
slowdown in the behavior
Cyclist
from
in front.
this driver. There's a bicyclist there. This driver has loved driving in bike lanes, which is very strange. So
maybe he's a cyclist at
that
heart,
was a little,
or identifies as a
little
cyclist.
interesting. Making a right turn on Armenta. What do you got?
He's slowing down here. Where are we?
Oh, I see. So Armenta, I don't know if it's a dead, yeah, well, that's a dead-end street. And the bus is coming to a stop. The driver, out of the bus, he has got a backpack on, and he's just going to run away. He's going to leave the bus in the middle of Armenta Street in Panorama City. He's walking towards the Home Depot. This is a Home Depot that's open at this time, and walks into the garden center like no big deal. The suspect has left the bus, walked into the Home Depot, and is now walking through the garden center. Rob, push into the garden center there. So he did make the left turn and walk inside the actual store part of the Home Depot. So he's no longer in that garden center. And you can see those LAPD units pulling up right away. I see one LAPD unit so far. Hopefully more are on the way. Those couple of officers walking in the garden center. I've got one eye on the exit to the Home Depot to see if we can see anything
One officer
happening
grabs
there.
the shopping cart. The other
You
one's
have
loading the
LAPD
cart with
air unit
petunias.
overhead. They're keeping an eye on all sides of this Home Depot store to make sure nobody tries to run out of the store. But if you've been to a Home Depot, you know how big those stores are.
They're huge.
I've been to this particular store, and it's a huge store. There's a lot of places. There's a lot of nooks and crannies to where you can go. They do have, I see one person that might have just been a child running outside, unrelated.
I see a puppy. Release
see
the
one
hounds.
woman kind of pointing back into the store. I wonder if that has something to do. Hopefully LAPD is making contact with the suspect here, but as I was saying, I'm sure everybody knows how big Home Depot stores are.
Yes, we do.
And there's a lot of room for a person to run
we
and
want to
hide
escape,
inside the store.
but we also want to stay and see what happens. Everybody get your phones out.
I can't tell if those people in the store are seeing something on the inside or if they're just going about their normal day. It does appear you have the door closed now. It looks like an employee has locked the door. So
no
it does
escape.
appear that these Home
You will
Depot
buy our
staff
products.
are aware of what's going on. The LAPD officers inside have at least made contact with the staff to get them to lock at least that one front door. You have a couple of other staff people walking out this back door.
The back door is kept open for escape purposes because safety first,
And
right?
this will be a little bit of a challenge
Thank you,
for
Weezer.
LAPD unless they were able to get eyes on the suspect right away. That bus still just parked in the middle of Armenta.
But we're not done. We're not done.
You have officers watching the back doors. They are going to
Home Depot bouncers doing their job for the first time in their career now.
You have a Home Depot, an Old Navy, and a Gap. We have a
Sounds like
number
the
of
beginning
other
of a joke.
officers running inside as well. I'm hearing.
There's a cameraman,
from the police
freelance
scanner traffic
cameraman in
that they
green,
possibly have
moving
the
in with the
suspect
SWAT team.
They possibly have eyes on the suspect.
That couple wants nothing to do with what's going on in the store right now. It's like you've put us off our whole shopping mood. We're leaving. We're going to go to Lowe's. Nothing like this happens there. They've got an exit only. Exit only. The gate is up.
Are you able to get on the south side? See if we can see the south side of that garden center. The north entrance of the garden center, which you would want to see from the south, right? Yeah, they'll pull him out there too.
The guy in blue on the right, he just wants to buy himself an extension cord. It's like, I just need one cord. Make an exception. Look, you're not using the whole store.
If you're still watching along on the ABC7 24/7 channel,
more cops showing up to miss on the action.
ABC7 streaming platforms, you've been watching.
Trying to rub off the shame of missing the police chase. The bus was too quick for them.
Pursuit. One of those small passenger buses apparently possibly stolen from Children's Hospital.
Guy in blue still looking for an open entrance to Home Depot.
In the middle of the street, got out of the
Has
bus,
no idea
and
what's
walked
going on.
into this Home Depot through the garden center. We do understand that officers were able to make their way into
Garden
the garden
center exit is now
and they
open
have
for
made
all
contact
felons.
with the suspect. They are taking him into custody right now, and we're waiting to see when they pull this suspect out of the store. You have more LAPD officers making their way to the scene right now.
Ah, look at that.
And
Look at
there
that.
you have somebody in
Successful
custody
shopping
in
trip
handcuffs.
for the LAPD.
Looks like that person may have shedded their yellow jacket. They were wearing a yellow colored jacket when they ran into the store with a backpack. I don't see the backpack or the yellow colored jacket anymore. But officers believe that this is the person that was driving that bus earlier and is now in custody.
Massive amounts of sweat.
Wild pursuit covering a lot of the San Fernando Valley,
And the fact that he
putting
was
a lot of
hiding
people
behind
in
a
danger,
large ficus
possibly
tree.
sideswiping a couple of vehicles, a lot of close calls, no major crashes, and it does appear that all ends well here at the Home Depot off of Armenta Street in
All
Panorama
ends
City.
well. That's all we wanted to hear. All
With
ends
Pilot
well.
Johnny and
It's so
Rob on
rare
the camera
nowadays with
controls.
LA police
I'm Dave
chases that
Santos,
all ends well.
ABC7 Eyewitness News.
There we go. All right. So good morning, guys. Good morning. I thought we have to bring that to you a little bit. That was just absolutely crazy. We always
people do not get to have it their way.
No, it's not Burger King. We love to bring you the police chases, and YouTube does not love us to bring the police chases for some reason. I don't know why they hate me. Why do you hate me so much? There was nothing on there that was against the terms. What is it about? Yeah. What is it about police pursuit that you just don't accept? All right. We would like to do a little bit of court hopping. Let's see if we can see who is available. Let me turn off the record. I don't need that anymore. Looks like, let's see, is Judge Bryant active? She is. Let's jump into Judge Bryant briefly. We might have some other ones. I think we're trying to get down to, what's his name? For another drug court. The one that ended in a mid-trial plea change yesterday. We've got a second jury trial
Has been
going on
open
right now.
since
So let's
2018.
Let's jump in with
and
Judge
you need
Bryant
to clear
briefly.
up that warrant before the court will discharge you from probation. You must attend the marijuana insight program.
Celebration?
No, I'm sorry.
Oh no, something
The handgun intervention program.
You know what? I'm going to bail. We've got Judge Cedric. So
and
give me
the
a second.
choices
I need him on this
program
channel.
through eBay.
I need Judge Cedric on this channel. So just 1 second here. Let's do a quick. Oh, there he is. He's right there on top. And he just went private? Seriously, Judge? Like, I bailed out of another court, and you went private. Grr. It's one of those days. It's a hump day for sure. We're halfway to the weekend. Oh, it must have been the off-color joke. It was not off-color. It was just political. The announcer made a comment that was word for word. It matched a comment a certain politician has made many, many, many times. And I was just going to continue that comment out so it would be clear who had made that comment. And I chose not to do that. And now you'll never know what it is. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have even told you that. Now you'll be bugging me about it forever. I can't. Pickles, not politics. I've sworn an oath. Let's see. Update on Sarah Boone. GoFundMe taken down. That's because the GoFundMe, I believe, was never intended for her. It was intended as a joke. Libby says, please make sure the kitty is safe over the holiday. Yes, our kitty is very safe. It likes watching the kids throw poppets from about 15 feet away. That's where it wants to be. So it'll come around and watch. But we'll make sure it's safe. It's got a nice place to hide. All right, so if Judge Simpson bailed on us, let's see if we can bring another court to you this morning. No major trials. No major trials happening right now. Let's see. Donald Chisholm. Let's see. Let's see if we can go back to this guy. We saw him yesterday, right?
Reckless driving. So the court does have some concern with regard to the effort it must take to be cited for reckless driving. However, the young man is presumed innocent and his driving record is as clean as a hound's tooth. So this would appear to be some form of an aberrance that I'm sure that
did we see this one?
You'll take into account when you make any entreaties, if necessary, to the city prosecutor. So at this time, Mr. Zuccari, the court is going to set a $2,500 personal bond. What that means is you don't need to leave that money behind at this court today in order to go home and back to work, or you could owe the court $2,500 and a bench warrant issue for your arrest if
that's not the good option.
You fail to appear for your next court date or you violate any bond conditions. Your bond conditions are as follows, Mr. Zuccari. You will appear as directed for all your future dates. You'll abide any valid order or judgment entered in this case. You're not to leave the state of Michigan without permission of the court. Please don't commit any crimes while you're on release status.
Repeat
you
that
will
part.
notify the court in writing of any change of address, telephone, or email. There will be no supervision at this time, but you will abide all motor vehicle code provisions as a condition of your bond, which means, is your grandmother alive?
My grandmother?
Yes.
Yes, she is.
Does she drive?
No.
All right.
Neither do you.
Well, if she did drive, we need you to drive like your grandmother.
I got you. No problem.
Very slowly and carefully. Okay?
Okay.
All right. That completes your arraignment. Don't forget to check out at the window. Take care, sir.
No problem. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Who else is up, sir?
Home County Jail booth. I don't know. Did you know if you had one in custody?
Who does he sound like?
Miss Cole.
I shouldn't have anyone in
Scooby-Doo?
custody.
Okay.
Usually it's Brittany Costello on Wednesdays.
It is. Are you being a what's the word I want? Ersatz Brittany Costello, or were you already scheduled today?
I'm scheduled for the scheduled arraignments.
Okay.
But if you need me to do her jailers, I can. I love Brittany, and if she's not here, there's probably a good reason.
We only had 2 jailers we were aware of, but this is not unusual. Macomb just sometimes zooms in with absolutely no warning.
It could be a schedule.
Or it could be a schedule.
Oh, it could be a schedule.
We'll find out. Mr. Ergashev.
Let's bring him up on screen. Oh, no. You bail on us? like that. That's 2 in a row. 2 in a row bailed on us. Judge Brantley Clark is not live yet. We will be jumping to his courtroom because the last 2 court cases we've seen with Judge Brantley Clark, first of all, we got to watch both of the jury selections for them. The first one was a pro se defendant in a possession, I think it was a distribution amount of cocaine. He was charged with that. The guy's pro se, shows up in jail stripes, defends himself, and gets the victory, walks away with a not guilty as the jury came back and sided with him. And it was humiliating for the young prosecutor. The second one was a much larger amount. It was 2 pounds of meth. We had the full phone call of arranging the deal. I was going to go pick it up. We knew how much they were going to pay for it. We knew everything about it. The defendant bet his entire case on the fact that his attorney would be able to exclude the expert witness on a technicality because the prosecution 3 years before had not mentioned that the person who tested the drugs was an expert. Now, they did everything else right, and the judge said, you're not going to win on a gotcha. We're going to side against you. And as soon as they allowed that expert to testify, before she'd even made it in the courtroom, the defendant said, we need to talk. The lawyer said, we need to talk. And he said, yeah, I'm changing my mind. I'm going to go plead plead no contest because I'm just trying to do the right thing, Judge. Up until that moment, not so much. Now we have trial number 3 happening today. We know it's also a drug charge. We don't know the details. We don't know if it's pro se. We don't know if it's distribution amount as well. But we watched the jury selection for that as well. And it's going to be another 6 people on the jury choosing that one for Judge Brantley Clark today. I'm hoping it's good. Really hoping it's good. Let's see. We've got Judge Wade Mercer possibly. Let's see if we can bring him in. We've watched him a time or two in the past. Oops. Helps if I click the right button. Let me redo everything, get that set up. Let's see, do we have audio? Through BMD 7 audio.
Devices on him that amplifies the hearing, and make sure he doesn't have any questions. Make sure this is what he want to do. If he does, I'll go ahead and accept the plea and it'll be over with. So, Corporal, how long would it take to get him up here?
I hear, but I can't understand it.
Sorry. I can't understand it. He doesn't understand it. I'm sorry, Corporal. How long?
I'm not sure. I don't know how many staff they have available to take him up there. I can't go yet, but I can see real quick.
Judge Brantley Clark just went live.
I just want to make sure. Can we say if we did it at 9:30, do you have somebody in your office that could be available to accept it?
You do solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
We
All right, first, lower your hand and state your name. Mr. Gary, you heard what Ms. Jewell just announced on the record. Is that correct? Is that your understanding that you were offered to be sentenced to Bay County Jail, basically be sentenced for a year and enter and successfully complete the Lifeline program? And once you complete that Lifeline program, that will satisfy your jail sentence?
No, sir.
That wasn't your understanding?
No, sir.
What was your understanding?
She reminded me that they wanted probation and fall behind.
What was the plea offer?
Brought it to my attention. She said they wanted. She wasn't sure, but they wanted probation.
What was the plea offer?
Your Honor, the plea offer was strictly Lifeline. There was no probation to follow.
Say.
What is that plea offer still today?
No, Your Honor.
It's been withdrawn?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Jewell, what was your understanding of the plea offer?
Your Honor, I advised him that it would be a year in the county jail, do the Lifeline program. I had him screen. He told the screeners at Lifeline that he did not want the program. And so they contacted me and said he told them, and just since this is on record, that he didn't have a problem and he didn't want Lifeline. So I never told him probation to follow. It was Lifeline, 4 months, you're done.
All right, Mr. Gary? Sir?
I said it was not given to me like that. Not as a year in jail. None of that. She told me otherwise that they were trying to have probation follow.
Okay. And the state's indicated that was not the plea offer, it was straight jail sentence with a lifeline?
That is correct, Your Honor.
All right, and you're charged with a third-degree felony, punishable with 5 years in prison, and a first-degree misdemeanor, punishable with 1 year in the county jail. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Anything else we need to put on the record? And that plea offer has been withdrawn at this time. Is that correct?
That is correct.
All right, Mr. Gary, you think you'd have taken that plea offer if it was just jail time?
Answer carefully.
You didn't tell the ones at the jail that you weren't interested in the lifeline?
I didn't specify when she came to interview me. I told her I didn't have a problem with having drug problems. I said I would answer the question for her. She told me she would let me. I didn't never say I wouldn't take it.
I never said I wouldn't take it. He's trying to play both sides of the fence.
Okay. All right. Is there anything else we need to put on the record?
Your Honor, my first witness, I have gotten notification that she is in the courthouse, but we're having problems locating her. So if I could just have a minute to go find where they sent her.
Who is she?
Her name is, she's just a civilian.
Okay.
She's on the way up now. She is on her way up.
Very good.
Okay, this is the court case. I believe this is a jury case. The jury should be seated
right,
just off camera on the bottom right-hand corner, or actually on the bottom left-hand corner of the bottom right-hand corner image. Does that make sense? So
Jewel,
sort of the middle of the screen.
Are you requesting the instruction about your client's right to remain silent?
I am, Your Honor. I believe we've got the instructions up there, and we also gave Your Honor, since we've got the body cam, the instruction on edited recordings.
Oh, very good. All right, anything else?
Not from the state, Your Honor.
Not from me.
Let's bring the jurors in.
Now the jurors are coming in. We will see the jurors. This court does show us the jurors. They also tell us their names, and we get to watch voir dire as we watched previously. So it's just something that this court allows, and the courts make the rules. You've seen that case in Judge Boyd's court where the plea was 2 years, but the defendant got 10 instead. Ouch.
Am I pronouncing it?
Diabru.
Diabru. Diabru. Nadia?
Yes.
Diabru. It usually takes me a little while, but I'll do the best I can.
I want to get it right for sentencing.
Jurors entering.
Jurors entering with labels on shirts. Looking good. Everyone's dressed appropriately for court. It will be a one-day trial. So we will see resolution probably just after lunch.
If everyone can have a seat, the jurors, if you'll remain standing. Madam Clerk, if you'll swear the jurors in, please, or place on the motion.
Do you solemnly swear that you will well and truly try the issues between the state of Florida and the defendant, whom you shall have in charge, and a true verdict rendered according to the law and the evidence, so help you God?
Good morning. Have a seat. Ladies and gentlemen of the jurors, you have been selected and sworn as the jury to try the case of the state of Florida versus Gerald Gary. This is a criminal case. Mr. Gary is charged with 2 counts, possession of cocaine and possession of marijuana less than 20 grams. The definitions of the crimes charged will be explained to you later. The state's charging instrument, which is called an information, is not evidence and is not to be considered by you as any proof of guilt. It is the judge's responsibility to explain the law to you. It is your solemn responsibility to determine that the state proved its accusation beyond a reasonable doubt against Mr. Gary in accordance with the law that I provide to you. Thus, the province of the jury and the province of the court are well defined and they do not overlap. This is one of the fundamental principles of our system of justice. Before proceeding further, it will be helpful if you understand how a trial is conducted. At the beginning of the trial, the attorneys will have an opportunity, if they wish, to make an opening statement. The opening statement gives the attorneys a chance to tell you what evidence they believe will be presented during the trial. What the lawyers say is not evidence, and you're not to consider it as such. Following the opening statement, witnesses will be called to testify under oath. They will be examined and cross-examined by the attorneys. documents, and other exhibits also may be produced as evidence. After the evidence has been presented, the attorneys will have the opportunity to make their closing arguments. Following the closing arguments by the attorneys, the court will instruct you on the law applicable to the case. After the final instructions are given, you will then retire to consider your verdict. You should not form any definite or fixed opinion on the merits of the case until you have heard all the evidence, the argument of the lawyers, and the instructions on the law by the judge. Until that time, you should not discuss the case among yourselves. Your verdict must be based solely on the evidence or lack of evidence and the law. I now instruct you not to communicate with anyone, including your fellow jurors, about this case. No communication includes no email, text messaging, tweeting, blogging, or any other form of communication. You cannot do any research about the case or look up information about the case. If you become aware of any violation of any of these rules at all, notify court personnel of the violation.
Karina, congratulations.
During the course of the trial, the court may take recess, and you will be permitted to separate and go about your personal affairs. During these recesses, you must not discuss the case with anyone, nor permit anyone to say anything to you or in your presence about the case. If anyone attempts to say anything to you or in your presence about this case, tell him or her that you're on the jury trying the case and ask that person to stop. If he or she persists, leave that person at once and immediately report the matter to the bailiff, who will advise me. All cell phones, computers, tablets, and other types of electronic devices must be turned completely off while you're in the courtroom.
We're in the panhandle
Turned
of Florida
off means
here.
the phone or other electronic devices actually off and not in silent or vibrating mode. You may use these devices during recesses, but even then you must not use your cell phone or electronic device to find out any information about the case or communicate with anyone about the case or the people involved in the case. Do not take photographs, video recordings, or audio recordings of the proceedings or of your fellow jurors. After each recess, please double check to make sure your cell phone or electronic device is turned off. At the end of the case, while you're deliberating, you must not communicate with anyone outside the jury room. You cannot have in the jury room any cell phones, computers, smartwatches, or other electronic devices. If anyone needs to contact you in an emergency, the court can receive messages and deliver them to you without delay. This case must be tried by you only on the evidence presented during the trial and in your presence and in the presence of the defendant, the attorneys, and the judge. Jurors must not conduct any investigation of their own. This includes reading newspapers, watching television, or using a computer, cell phone, the internet, any electronic device, or any other means at all to get information related to this case or the people and places involved in this case. This applies whether you're at the courthouse, at home, or anywhere else. You must not visit places mentioned in the trial or use the internet to look at maps or pictures to see any place discussed during the trial. If you would like to take notes during the trial, you may do so. On the other hand, you are not required to take notes if you don't want to. That will be left up to you individually. You have been provided a notepad and a pen for use if you wish to take notes. Any notes that you take will be for your own personal use. However, you should not take them with you from the courtroom. Excuse me. During recesses, the bailiff will take possession of your notes and will return them to you when we reconvene. After you've completed your deliberations, the bailiffs will deliver your notes to me. They will be destroyed. No one will ever read your notes. If you take notes, do not get so involved in note taking that you become distracted from the proceedings. Your notes should be used only as aids to your memory. Whether or not you take notes, you should rely on your memory of the evidence and you should not be unduly influenced by the notes of other jurors. Notes are not entitled to any greater weight than each juror's memory of the evidence. Jurors must not have discussion of any sort with friends or family members about the case or the people and places involved. So, do not let even the closest family members make comments to you or ask questions about the trial. In this age of electronic communication, I want to stress again that just as you must not talk about this case face to face, you must not talk about this case by using an electronic device. You must not use phone, computers, or other electronic devices to communicate. Do not send or accept any messages related to this case or your jury search. Do not discuss this case or ask for advice by any means at all, including posting information on internet website, chat room, or blog. What are the reasons for these rules? These rules are imposed on both jurors must decide the case without distraction and only on the evidence presented in the courtroom. If you investigate, research, or make inquiries on your own, the trial judge has no way to make sure that the information you obtain is proper for the case. The parties likewise have no opportunity to dispute or challenge the accuracy of what you find. That is contrary to our judicial system, which assures every party the right to ask questions about and challenge the evidence being considered against it and to present argument with respect to that evidence. Any independent investigation by a juror unfairly and improperly prevents the parties from having that opportunity, our judicial system promises. Any juror who violates these restrictions jeopardizes the fairness of these proceedings, and a mistrial could result that would require the entire trial process to start over. A mistrial is a tremendous expense and inconvenience to the parties, the court, and the taxpayer. If you violate these rules, you may be held in contempt of court and face sanctions such as serving time in jail, paying a fine, or both. In every criminal proceeding, a defendant has the absolute right to remain silent. At no time is it the duty of a defendant to prove his innocence. From the exercise of a defendant's right to remain silent, a jury is not permitted to draw any inference of guilt, and the fact that a defendant did not take the witness stand must not influence your verdict in any manner whatsoever. The attorneys are trained in the rules of evidence and trial procedure, and it is their duty to make all objections they feel are proper. When an objection is made, you should not speculate on the reason why it is made. Likewise, when an objection is sustained or upheld by me, you must not speculate on what might have occurred had the objection not been sustained, or what a witness might have said had he or she been permitted to answer. During the trial, it may be necessary to confer with the attorneys out of your hearing to discuss matters that require consideration by me alone. It is impossible to predict when such a conference may be required or how long it will last. When such conferences occur, they will be conducted so as to consume as little of your time as is necessary for a fair and orderly trial of the case. Ms. Mackey, whenever you're ready.
I don't expect lawyers everywhere to agree on anything, and voir dire is one of the things they don't agree on. Everybody's right. Everyone's right. Here we go. Prosecution kicking off the case here with the opening statement.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Today we're going to be going back to December 1st of 2023. And you're going to hear from a few witnesses today. Starting off, you'll hear from Ms. Nikki Andrea Cuff. On December 1st of 2023, Ms. Cuff was at home by herself. It was late in the evening when she noticed a man walking around her yard, kind of looking into her windows. And when she talked to the man, he said something about watching over the house next door. And she knew the people who lived next door and owned that residence. She knew that it was vacant. There was no one living there due to renovation. She thought it was odd. Under the advisement of her mother, she called the police. You're also going to hear from Officer Michael, who was the officer that responded to Ms. Cuff's call. And he'll tell you that when he arrived, he went to the vacant house next door. And when he walked up to the house, he noticed Mr. Gerald Gary sitting there on the porch of the vacant house, his bike behind him, some of his other items around him. And on his bike, there was a black bag hanging from the handlebars. And as he walked up to Mr. Gary, he started smelling what Officer Michael believed was marijuana. And he asked Mr. Gary if he had a medical marijuana card. And when he found out that answer was no, he searched Mr. Gary. And Mr. Gary was wearing a black or dark sweatshirt that day. And in the front pocket of his sweatshirt was a little bag of a green leafy substance that Officer Michael knew was marijuana. After Officer Michael found that bag, he began to search some of Mr. Gary's other items. And in that black bag on the handlebars of the bike, he found this white, powdery substance. And he asked...
Flour.
Mr. Gary about it because he believed that it was cocaine. He asked Mr. Gary about it. Where did you get it? And you'll hear that Mr. Gary said something along the lines of, well, I can't tell you exactly where I got it. I got it out here in these streets, and it's for personal use. You won't have to take Officer Michael's word that it's cocaine because you'll also get to hear from an FDLE analyst, which is the Florida Department of Law Enforcement. That is the technical lab that they send those kind of substances to. And you'll get to hear from Julie Nelson, who is an analyst at the lab. And you'll hear that that substance was, in fact, cocaine. Ladies and gentlemen, as you listen to the evidence and the facts in this case, keep in mind that there are, for each of the charges, two things that I have to prove that we talked a little bit about in jury selection. One being that Mr. Gary possessed a substance and that the substance was cocaine. For the marijuana charge, that Mr. Gary possessed a substance and that the substance was, in fact, marijuana. At the end of all the evidence, there will be no reasonable doubt, and I will come back before you and ask you to find the defendant guilty as charged.
She's confident.
Ms. Jewell, whenever you're ready.
Hey, please, court, counsel.
3 minutes, also she took.
Good morning. I'm not going to belabor any points with you because this will be a very short trial. Evidence will come in quickly. What I do want to remind you of, though, is what we were kind of talking about on Monday. You're responsible for determining what evidence that you hear from here, what evidence you believe to be reliable, what evidence you can basically count on, and what's been proven to you. And so what I want you to do now is just please pay attention to everything you hear in here, but also pay attention to what you won't hear in here. Because you can find things from evidence, lack of evidence, and then conflict of evidence. And at the end of the trial, I'll be talking to you about some of the lack of evidence. Thank you.
Listen to what you won't hear.
His name columnist, Kendra Cuff.
Fetching the first witness. Ayden hit 1,000 subs yesterday. That is awesome. I know Brandy did a pop-in, surprised her on the live stream. That is really cool. Super happy for her. I've helped her a little bit with the equipment and answered some questions for her. She's doing a great job. Love that she's bringing the court to the deaf community. Is that a clear backpack? Should she bring like a little Dora the Explorer backpack?
Solemnly swear or affirm that the you're about to give the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
All right, ma'am, you have a seat. You'll speak directly to the microphone. Ms. McAfee, you may inquire whenever you're ready.
This is the neighbor.
Good morning.
Will you introduce yourself to the jury?
Yes, my name is Nikki Andrea Cuff.
And what area, or where do you live?
Right now I live in Callaway, but I did about 2 months ago. I did recently live on 13th Street.
Okay, is that Panama City?
Yes.
Is that where you were living in December of last year?
Yes.
Okay. So on December 1st of 2023, that's where you were living?
Yes.
And were you at your house that night?
Yes, ma'am.
Around, and I'll just ask you this, is that a support animal that you have with you today?
It is. She's in training. I'm so sorry.
A sport animal in training.
Did you call the police that night of December 1st, 2023?
Yes.
And why did you call the police?
That's not the first person I've seen walk through my yard, so I usually don't call the police, but my mom felt like something was wrong.
Okay, and I'll slow you down there. You said someone was walking through your yard?
Yes.
Okay. And can you kind of describe how they were walking through your yard?
It wasn't normal. It was like they were creeping or trying to sneak through my yard, basically.
It might need some more training.
Trying to get to the other house next door, but they also were they were peeking at my house as well. So my cameras caught that.
Did you talk to that person?
Yes.
And what were they trying to, what did they tell you they were trying to do?
I confronted them because one, they're in my yard. So he was basically telling me that he was looking out for the house next door because somebody was hoarding and I think it was him.
Do you know the people who own the house next door?
I met them. They don't live there. I don't know if they live there now, but in December they weren't living there. They're just
living there.
No, they were remodeling their home so they could move back in.
And based on that, did you call the police?
Yes. I told him to get off my property and tried to figure out what he was doing on my property. But like I said, my mom told me to call the police and I did, which I see was a good thing.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Ms. Jewell, any questions?
Only one, Your Honor. Ms. Cup, you said that he was walking through your yard?
Yes.
Okay.
Through the back. He came through the backyard to be exact.
Okay, but was walking. Nothing further.
Are you in your redirect?
No, Your Honor.
Can Ms. Cuff be excused?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ma'am, you may go about your day.
I'll talk when we get home, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Who's supporting who right now with the dog? I think she's supporting the dog.
Officer Ryan Michael.
You can leave, ma'am. The pup has to stay.
If you would stand by the case on the clerk's
Did she had an earbud in? Wow.
McAfee, sir, you have a seat, speaking to the microphone, and Ms. McAfee, you may inquire whenever you're ready.
Good morning.
Do you have a dog
introduce
too,
yourself
sir?
to the jury?
I'm Officer Ryan Michael,
And where do you work?
Panama City Police Department.
How long have you worked there?
Approximately 4 years.
Is that the total of your police experience?
Yes.
Well, that and the
What's your
calendar.
current position at the Panama City Police Department?
I'm a patrol officer.
And what is your duties as a patrol officer?
I answer calls for service and handle crimes at the street level.
And I pose for photographs.
What type of training and experience do you have to have for your
You have to have a certain amount of time in the academy, depending on what time you go.
how long were you in the academy?
About a year.
Any other training that you have for duty before that?
I've taken several drug classes through the St. Petersburg College.
What do you mean by drug classes?
Just kind of drug identification and then patrol interdiction.
Did he say I've
What
taken
kind
or
of
I've taken?
drugs did you have training in identifying?
Marijuana, cocaine, methamphetamine.
We've tried
Schedule 1, 2, and 3.
Or tested them all, I mean.
Have you dealt with marijuana as part of your duties?
Yes.
About how often do you think?
Almost everyday occurrence.
Are you familiar with the way the marijuana looks?
Yes.
Are you familiar with the way the marijuana smells?
Yes.
Going to December 1st of
Familiar
2023,
with the way it makes
were you
me
working that
feel.
day?
I was.
And did you come into contact with someone later known to
Sorry.
as Gerald Gary?
Yes, ma'am.
There was an obvious question there.
So we got a call about a suspicious person going into people's yards. Upon arrival, I made contact with the complainant, and she showed me a video of the defendant.
Where did you see the defendant?
Next door.
And was that house in Bay County?
Yes.
And when you saw Mr. Gary, can you kind of lay out the scene of where he was, how you saw him?
Yeah, he was sitting on the front porch. He had a bicycle behind him. The house was vacant, and he was sitting at a table.
You like set up shop?
And
Like a lemonade stand, only not
did
lemonade.
you notice anything when you walked up to him?
I could smell the odor of marijuana.
All right. And what did you do after you smelled marijuana?
Well, after the initial investigation took place, I then moved on to a drug investigation. I asked him if he had a marijuana card.
Okay. And did he?
No, ma'am.
All right. So what did you do when you found out he did not have a marijuana card?
Well, at that point, I conducted a probable cause search and
I think you meant probable cause.
What did you find?
Found marijuana in his pocket,
Which pocket?
his jacket pocket.
Was he wearing that jacket at the time?
He was.
Your Honor, if I may approach.
You may approach.
I'd object. Nobody wears a jacket in Florida. It never gets cold enough. Clearly not believable witness.
Officer Michael, I'm showing you what has been marked as State's Exhibit 1 for identification purposes. Do you know what that is?
Yes, ma'am. It's the marijuana I collected.
Okay. How do you know what that is?
I submitted it to evidence.
Can you open that real quick and just make sure?
I'll have to use a knife if that's okay.
Which I happen to have with me. It'd be funny if it was like a butterfly knife and you did the whole flip it around and you gotta like. This is a comb. It's not a knife, but the same idea.
I apologize. Wrapped it pretty good, apparently.
I'm sorry, but it's hard to flex while opening this package, and I'm not going to stop flexing.
Is that in the same or substantially the same condition as when you packaged it?
Yes, ma'am.
And
Now
what
it has
do
a
you know
big
that
hole
to
in
be?
Marijuana.
And how do you know that it's marijuana?
It's a green leafy substance.
So is parsley.
It's Exhibit 1 as Exhibit 1.
Any objection?
No objection.
Case Exhibit 1 will be accepted into evidence. You may publish whenever you're ready.
The jury's happy. So that goes back with us to the deliberation room, right? You haven't waited? Good.
Yeah.
Now, Sir Michael, after you found that substance, that marijuana, what did you do after that?
Well, I then went to a bag that was located on his bicycle.
Okay. And did you find anything in that bag?
I did.
What did you find?
Well, I found a small clear baggie within a cigarette carton.
Okay. What was in that baggie?
It was a white powdery substance.
And I'm going to show you what's been marked State's Exhibit 2 for identification. Do you know what that is?
Yes, ma'am.
And what is that?
It is cocaine.
Is that the substance that you found that day?
Yes,
Does it smell like
Is it in the same or substantially the same condition as when you found it and packaged it? And what did you do with the substance before or after you found it?
Well, I collected it and then I field tested it.
Did you ask Mr. Gary any questions about that substance?
I did. I read him his Miranda.
And to the best of your recollection, did he say anything about that substance?
The only thing he could say is that he wasn't able to give me the name of the person that gave it to him.
Don't think anyone gave it to him.
I'm showing you what has been marked as State's Exhibit 3 for identification. Do you know what that is?
It's body cam footage.
All right. Is it from the night in question?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it the whole thing or just a clip?
Just a clip.
Have you reviewed that?
I have.
Is it an accurate representation of the conversation that you had with Mr. Gary?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, at this time, the state would seek to admit State's Exhibit 3 for identification purposes as State's Exhibit 3.
Any objection?
No objection.
State's Exhibit 3 will be accepted into evidence. And are you getting ready to publish, Ms. McAfee?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right.
All right, here we go. Turn on the
Members of the
TVs.
jury, you're about to view a video recording. The court instructs you that the recording has been edited to eliminate irrelevant portions that would not add to your understanding of the case. The fact that the recording has been edited should not concern you in any way and must not impact the way you view and consider this evidence.
I'm concerned that it's edited.
You may proceed.
It's going to probably be down here in this bottom right corner, so I'm going to move up here to the top. Sit with the judge for a minute, whisper over his shoulder. You've got mail.
Okay. All right. So you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in the court of law. You have the right to talk to a lawyer and have him or her present with you while you are being questioned. If you cannot afford to hire a lawyer, one will be appointed to represent you before any questioning if you wish. You can decide at any time to exercise these rights and not answer any questions or make any statements. Do you understand the rights that I have read you? Okay. With these rights in mind, are you willing to talk to me? I just said. Where'd you get it? Where'd you get it? Glad
The white substance.
The substance that we just saw.
Don't tell me you don't know where, man. Come on, don't pull that on me. I know I look young, dude, but I've been doing this for a while. Okay. Yes, I can't tell you. He was exactly like that. Yes, sir. Where though? Where though? That has been allowed to have this. Right? Out in the streets. Out here in the streets. Why can't you tell me? Like I said, because it's been a while since I had it. It's personal. I don't know about you.
I want to see the whole thing for completeness. I'm sorry. I have more questions than answers after watching that video. It starts with Miranda. It sounds like this guy maybe even got roughed up.
Can you see the person that possessed that white substance that you got and the marijuana in the court?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you identify him by where he's sitting?
He's wearing a blue collared shirt.
Or is it reflected identify the defendant?
The record will so reflect.
No further questions.
Ms. Jewell?
Thank you.
I know the court said to not consider
All right, good morning, officer.
anything about it being edited, but I'm considering that.
You were on night shift last night, correct? Okay. Well, I'll try to keep this brief, but there's quite a bit I need to go back over with you. Now, when you were first called out there, you said it was a suspicious person, and you had spoken to the next door neighbor, and then walked over to the vacant house.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, was that vacant house? What was that, 618?
620.
620, okay. 618 was the house you responded to. Okay.
I want to see what happened after.
And you said that you noted Mr. Gary sitting on the porch.
Yes,
what was he doing?
He was sitting there on his phone.
Okay, just kind of scrolling through videos or something?
That's what it looked like.
Okay. And if you could kind of describe for the jury, there was like a little white table sitting there, chair that he was sitting in, and on the table in front of him, do you recall, other than his phone, if there was anything on there?
It was just various junk items.
Okay. Now, you said there was also a bicycle on the porch.
Yes, ma'am.
Had you seen him on that bicycle?
No, ma'am.
Had anything about the bicycle been mentioned prior to when you searched it?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Did he ever say that was his bicycle?
No, ma'am.
Now, you had gone over that you had taken some drug classes. Now, you are not an expert in drug identification, correct?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And you said you smelled what you believe to be the odor of marijuana.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, you cannot tell this jury with any degree of scientific certainty that that substance that you smelled and that you took into evidence was in fact marijuana.
Well, due to my training and experience, I was able to identify it.
You can't tell with any scientific certainty, can you?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And that's because hemp and marijuana smell exactly the same, correct? They can't be detected by humans or dogs.
Correct.
Okay. So you were basing your testimony today based on the smell and what you said looked like marijuana.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So you will not be saying now that you can scientifically
hemp and marijuana
say that that was marijuana.
Correct.
Okay. Now, when You said that after you found the substance that looked like marijuana in his pocket, you did a search of a bag on the bicycle. What was the bag on the bicycle?
It looked like a black plastic bag.
Okay, so black plastic bag, how was it attached to the bicycle?
It was hanging on the handlebars.
Okay. Was there any identifying information in that bag?
No.
Maybe it was garbage you'd picked up off the street.
And
just to
in
clean
that
up the
bag,
town.
what was contained in that bag?
It was several cigarette cartons.
All right. Any other bags inside the bag?
Not that I could recall.
Did you ever find a Crown Royal bag?
I did.
Okay. So where exactly did you locate? And we saw it on the body cam where you were holding it up. Where exactly did you locate that?
Talking about the black or the little plastic bag?
That you were holding up and we can see it on your body cam.
It was within one of the cigarette cartons.
Okay, within one of them.
Mm-hmm.
We're in the panhandle of Florida near Brandy Churchwell's condo. I think she can hear the court proceedings from her condo.
And once you located that, the exchange occurred that we just witnessed.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then
what?
Aside from that, he was placed under arrest at that time.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What did you do with the evidence in this case?
Well, I field tested it using a narcotic wipe.
And that's the cocaine?
Yes.
Okay, so you tested the white powdery substance, and what did you do then?
Well, then I confiscated it and submitted it into evidence.
Okay, so when you submit something into evidence, where does it go?
It goes to the Panama City Police Department Crime Scene Division.
Okay, and so from there, do you request that it is tested?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so did you send both the white powdery substance and the green leafy substance?
I requested, yes, ma'am.
So you did send both? Okay. And so those would have both gone over to Florida Department of Law Enforcement, correct?
Once I submit it, it's up to the crime scene at that point. I could request it, but it's up to them.
Okay, so you request and then crime scene actually packages and sends on?
Sends it, yes.
Okay. And there's, a log that tracks that along the way, correct?
There should be, yes, ma'am.
Okay. And both things that we saw in here, did you recognize any markers on it from you personally?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Your Honor, may I approach?
May I approach?
Oh, you're approaching the judge?
Okay, I have got Exhibit 2.
That must be the
I'll bring this back over to
white
you.
baggie.
This is the one containing the white powdery substance.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, on the video, what you were holding was like, what kind of plastic was that was in?
It was just plastic.
Is it in this container?
No.
Okay. When you handed it into evidence, was it still in that plastic container?
I submitted the plastic containers.
Okay. Okay, so it would have been the evidence custodian that would have packaged it to be sent over to FDLE?
Yes.
Okay, so you never signed these saying, yes, this is what I got. You give it straight to evidence. It's signed over to them and then they put it in there.
So when you package the evidence, okay, you put it in a little smaller plastic container that you saw in there.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and then at that point, that's what you give to the evidence or to the custodians to send off to get tested.
Okay, and that was what I was getting at is you put it in the smaller.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Got it. Okay. That was what I was actually asking. So we may have taken a long way around to get there. Okay, gotcha. All right. I don't have any further questions.
Can you read it?
Just briefly, Your Honor. Officer Michael, the substance that we saw there, substance you were holding up in the body cam video, that was what you had found in the bag and bike, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
That was the same substance that Mr. Gary said was for personal use?
Yes.
And how often do you deal with marijuana?
Like almost daily.
Almost daily. How was the substance that you found on Mr. Gary? How was that packaged?
Which substance?
The what you said was marijuana. How was that packaged on him?
So it was in a tied up plastic bag.
That was just in his pocket?
Yes, ma'am.
Was it just loose leaf?
Karen, welcome.
Yeah, it was just the marijuana like ball that you saw in the evidence. It was like just like that.
No further questions.
You have a question, Ms. Jewell?
Again, not an expert, can't testify with any degree of scientific certainty, correct? All right.
That's been answered.
This witness be excused?
Your Honor, I would ask that you be subject to recall.
All right, so you're still under subpoena. You can leave the courtroom, however, you may be called back to testify.
Why?
Yeah, call your next witness.
There's one last
The
witness.
state would call Julie Nelson.
Julie Nelson is going to be from the state crime lab that tested the drugs, and then the state's going to arrest. I doubt they have anybody else. And you know the defense says what? Nobody.
You would stand by the chair, please, until the clerk's review.
Did you bring a dog, ma'am?
It is swear or affirm testimony you're about to give the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. I do. Thank you.
Have a seat. Just speak directly into the microphone. And Ms. McAfee, you may inquire whenever you're ready.
Good morning. Can you introduce yourself to the jury?
My name is Julie Nelson.
And where do you work?
I'm a crime laboratory analyst with the Florida Department of Law Enforcement.
And how long have you been with the Florida Department of Law Enforcement?
I've been there since July of 2021.
And what do you do for that?
I'm a crime laboratory analyst in the seized drugs section.
And how long have you been a crime laboratory analyst?
I have been qualified since February of 2022.
Do you have to have any specialized training or education for your position?
Yes, I have a Bachelor of Science in Biochemistry in addition to the year-long training program provided by FDLE.
Have you had, through your
Sounds legit.
training and job, the occasion to chemically analyze substances to determine whether the substance is or contains a controlled substance?
Yes, I have.
About how many times?
Over 2,000 times.
And have you had the occasion to chemically analyze substances to determine whether the substance is or contains cocaine?
I have.
About how many times?
Over 200 times over the last year.
How many drug analysis do you make in a given year?
Several, probably over 1,000.
And how many of those are cocaine during a given year?
Maybe a fifth of them, so about 20%.
Her math is adding up so far.
These analysis as a regular part of your duties as a crime laboratory analyst?
Yes, that's what comprises the majority of my day.
And have you given your opinion as to whether a substance is or contains a controlled substance in court?
Yes.
About how many times?
This will be my 7th opportunity.
Any questions, Ms. Jewell?
No, Lord.
All right, she may give her opinion.
On December 14th of 2023, did the Florida Department of Law Enforcement receive a suspected controlled substance and related to this matter from the Panama City Police Department?
Yes.
I'm showing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 2 for identification. Do you know what that is?
This is the item that I analyzed for this case.
And how do you know that that's what that is?
I recognize my initials in my handwriting on both the inner and outer packaging, as well as on the FDLE label.
And is this in the same or substantially same condition as when you received it?
Yes.
And once you receive an exhibit, what do you do?
First, I will inventory the interior and exterior packaging to make sure that it matches what was said to be submitted. I will then open the item of evidence. I will take a weight of that item. I will then take a small sampling and perform a chemical color test, as well as 2 instrumental analysis.
And did you perform those analyses on this substance?
I did.
And what examinations were done on this substance?
After the weight and chemical color test, I performed gas chromatography, mass spectrometry, as well as gas chromatography exams.
And based on those examinations, were you able to form an opinion as to what this exhibit is or contains?
I was.
And what does it contain?
I was able to identify cocaine.
Your Honor, at this point, I would move to offer State's Exhibit 2 for identification as State's Exhibit 2.
Any objection?
No objection.
State's Exhibit 2 will be accepted into evidence. You may publish whenever you're ready.
Do I have to move, Your Honor? So I don't obscure the television.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Cool.
Your Honor.
I guess not. I'll stay right where I am. This is a pretty solid witness. I don't know if she can shake her.
Good morning.
All right. So you've been working for FDLE since 2022. What types of drugs have you tested?
I've tested all types of drugs. Anything that's submitted to the lab, I am qualified to test.
So you're qualified to test marijuana, cocaine, methamphetamines, pills?
Yes, ma'am.
Liquids, anything that you get sent, you can test?
Yes.
Okay. Why is it important for drug testing at the lab to confirm what something is?
We use the analysis to determine whether or not, impartially determine whether or not a substance contains a controlled substance. It's for reporting to the submitting agency.
So would it be fair to say that sometimes things may look like a controlled substance and they are in fact not after testing?
Correct.
Okay. Now I noticed that you only tested cocaine in this case. Was any marijuana ever sent over to you?
Not to my knowledge.
You might get off on the marijuana charge.
Since you are an expert in this field, why is it important to test green leafy substances to determine whether or not they are marijuana?
There's a statute in those Florida statutes that differentiates between cannabis, which is controlled, and hemp, which is a industrial product and therefore not controlled.
So we will do
testing on that plant material to determine what it is.
Okay.
There's reasonable
because
doubt.
By
Could have
sight
been
you
hemp.
cannot tell.
No.
By smell you cannot tell. It takes actual testing before it can be determined to be what would be considered in Florida against the law.
Correct.
Okay. Nothing further, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
And the witness be excused.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you may go about your day.
Thank you very much.
The state has to prove it's marijuana. That's their
You
burden.
may call your next witness.
It might seem logical that it was, but
Your Honor,
they
at
need to
this
prove
time,
it.
state rest.
State rest.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take our first morning break. We'll take about a 20-minute break, come back at 10 after 10.
20 minutes.
Remember to leave your notepads in the courtroom. Do not discuss the case among yourselves or with anyone else. Don't use your electronic devices to check any media sources or find out anything more about the case than you know right now. If you'll follow the bailiffs out in the back. Remember to leave your notepads.
All right, so we've got a 20-minute break. The jury's going to leave out as we watch them leave. We're going to watch I think Judge Simpson's live right now. I know he's up. We'll watch him during the break, then we'll come back and see if the defense puts on any case whatsoever or if they just go straight till closings. This might be one of the quickest trials ever. We're already past the point that yesterday's trial got to, where it was only 2 witnesses in. The defendant switched and decided to plead no contest.
Everyone can have a seat. Ms. Jewell?
Mr. Spitzer's going to give it
Mr. Spitzer?
Your Honor, this time we move for judgment acquittal on count 1 of possession of cocaine. The state has failed to prove the prima facie case that Mr. Gary possessed the cocaine. It failed to prove that through constructive possession. It failed to prove that he had dominion control over that bicycle, which the alleged cocaine was found. And then as to count 2, the possession of marijuana, we would also move for judgment acquittal. The state has failed to prove their prima facie case there. And that substance was in fact marijuana beyond a reasonable doubt. There's been no testing to determine the THC level of the marijuana, of the substance, and therefore without that THC level, hemp and marijuana are distinguishable from each other.
State's response?
Your Honor, as to the possession of cocaine, the state has proven constructive possession, at least for judgment and acquittal purposes, in the aspect that he's the only one on the porch. He was going around there. He had other belongings that were around him. As for the actual substance, when he's asked about it, he says that it's for personal use. That's proving possession, Your Honor. As for the marijuana charge, it has been held in case law that officers can identify marijuana based on their training and experience if they've had sufficient training and experience. I think here it goes more to the weight of the evidence, which would be a question for the jury, whether they would believe Officer Michael as to that. But as for judgment of acquittal purposes, again, training and experience in Florida case law is adequate.
I appreciate the well-argued judgment of acquittal, but at this time, I'm going to deny motion to find the state has presented sufficient evidence at this time. Ms. Jewell, do you anticipate on calling any witnesses?
Your Honor, no, unless Mr. Gary has suddenly decided to testify, we would be resting and moving to closings.
Mr. Gary, you're still under oath from this morning when I had you swore in. I'm going to ask you a few questions about your decision to remain silent. Ms. Jewell just indicated you're not going to take the stand and testify today. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
You understand you have the right to testify?
Yes, sir.
You understand you have the right to remain silent?
Yes, sir.
That the only person who can make the decision whether you testify or remain silent is you. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
That you can change your mind up until the time that Ms. Jewell rests your case, but once that case is rested and they begin final arguments, you've waived your right forever. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
You understand if you made the decision to testify that you certainly have that right, but when you began testifying, you'd be subject to the state's cross-examination. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
You couldn't just testify and then not answer the state's questions.
Yes, sir.
All right, and you're settled with your decision at this time?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand up until the time Ms. Jewell, the jurors are brought back in and Ms. Jewell makes an announcement that she rests, that you can still change your mind? You understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, I've been given some jury instructions. Let's go ahead and have a charge conference at this time.
I doubt they're going to do much changes to this. We're going to have the instruction on the defendant not wanting to testify. It should not be held against him. It's going to be pretty much just standard.
Is it Lisham? Am I pronouncing it correctly? LaShawn. LaShawn.
Is it Lisham? LaShawn.
And we'll go through. I'm on page 3 now.
And Your Honor, I did double check. These are the standard with the appropriate parts removed.
Defense is good with the pattern instructions. Judge is flipping through like it's a comic book and he speed reads. Just looking at the pictures. Might have no issues whatsoever, which would be the first case in recorded history where
when you get to page 7, let me know.
I'm on 7.
There's always a problem.
All right, let's see. Probably need to take out 6. Seven.
I hope that's for a test.
8.
First Wednesday of the month.
Oh, yes.
9.
Okay, we've had a problem.
10.
Yes.
page 8 is good.
We just shortened jury instructions by about 3 minutes.
Page 9 needs to come out.
Yes.
6 minutes.
You want both paragraphs on page 10, is that correct?
My town uses a tornado siren or an air raid siren to summon the volunteer firefighters.
The verdict form.
Every time it goes off.
Everybody good with page 12, the verdict form?
About 30 seconds later. Utah represents the chat. I'm going to be out there in August for the Corey Richens trial. Well, I'll be out there for my son's wedding, but I'll also be there for the Corey Richens trial. There's a hearing, a 3-day hearing up in Park City. I plan to be there for that, at least part of it. Trying to figure out
everything
how
else looks
run
good.
It,
See, Ms. McAfee, you gonna make those corrections and send them to the clerk?
Yes, Your Honor.
We have about 10 more minutes left on our break. Mr. Gary, if you need a break, they'll take you back in the back to give you a break, and then we'll come back at 10 after, okay?
So we have 10 minutes, which means we'll take the 10 minutes to jump over to Judge Cedric Simpson's court. Just making sure the judge gets up and leaves. And he does. Okay, so let's jump to Judge Cedric Simpson.
168 consent blood draw.
Okay.
No crash.
0.168.
But the traffic stop for hazardous driving.
Got it. Set the defendant's bond in this case at $15,000 personal recognizance bond. Followed are standard conditions, including no assaultive behavior or possession of any weapons or assaultive behavior. I should say no weapons. No alcohol, recreational marijuana, or any illegal drugs. You understand that, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
I will order that you report to the Department of Community Corrections for placement on a Silver Link device for testing. And I've signed that order.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right.
She'll have to hand over there this afternoon.
August 7th, 2024, 9 a.m.
Sorry. Be able to get that later this afternoon? The Silver Link?
Yeah, she can get it now.
Oh, I did not know your court was that efficient.
Whoa, 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 Ann, did you? Okay, all right. Okay, we'll show you exactly how efficient we can be the next time we have a case. All right.
Thank you.
Yes.
Don't throw shade at the court.
Weekend. Court calls the case, People versus Ryan Atkins.
Conrad Silver on behalf of Pittsfield Township.
Hello.
Big Sky. We did a
Public
chase
Defender
first thing this
Natalie
morning.
Pate on behalf of Mr. Adkins, who is
With
present via Zoom.
the
Can you
music.
please state your name for the record, sir?
Ryan Atkins. What are we doing?
Thank you, Your Honor. We are respectfully requesting an adjournment in this matter as long as the court would allow. Mr. Adkins does need to have a hearing in front of the re-examination board, to my understanding, and we are asking for an adjournment to allow that to happen.
Have they set the date?
I do not believe they have yet. He has applied for the hearing, but they do not have a hearing date, as far as I know.
August 7th, 2024.
Bond will
9 a.m. because we've had, well, there's been some warrants. I'll go to that date and we'll take a look from there. Okay?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you,
sir.
Mr.
You can log off now.
Have a good weekend. You do the same. Court does call the case, People versus Thomas Howard, I think it is.
Conrad Silver on behalf of Pittsfield Township.
He's wearing a 21 Pilot shirt. Nice.
Assistant Public Defender Lauren Perny on behalf of Mr. Howard.
Appropriate for court.
Good morning, Mr. Howard. Can you state your name, please?
Howard Thomas. It's Howard Thomas. They have his name in wrong.
Howard T.
Yeah.
Thomas.
Howard T. Thomas. Got it. D. Thomas.
That's
Got
grounds
it.
for appeal.
All right.
Your Honor, we're here for a pretrial. We, as the court knows, we adjourned it out a week. I did speak with Avalon, and they did say that they would bring him to court and any doctor's appointments that he needs. I have been in touch with his social worker, and she said that they will drive him wherever he needs to go. Yeah.
Okay.
We did have a lengthy conversation yesterday, and Mr. Thomas is going to go back to Avalon. That's the plan if he were to be released from custody.
Yeah.
And he's going to work with them to get all of his affairs in order. He needs a new license and social security card and things like that. And he's willing to work with them to get all of that straight, as well as any medical issues that he needs to be addressed.
All right. And I don't want you drinking. You know that.
That's clear, Your Honor. That's very clear, overwhelmingly clear.
We did discuss that as well.
Yeah, that's clear.
And he said he's been feeling good in the jail and not drinking, and he wants to stay feeling good. Right, Mr. Thomas?
Yes, I do.
All right. Because I'm going to worry about you if you drink.
When I first got into jail, I think it's been 180 some days now. And I never experienced that before, like hallucinating type things before. I never had that happen to me before. But I did this time. It's not happening anymore. No, not anymore.
So it's a forced period of sobriety. Hopefully he has a support network that can keep him.
I saw a chicken fight, very colorful chicken fighting another chicken. I don't remember ever seeing that happen before.
Okay. So here's what I'm going to do.
I saw a colorful chicken fighting another chicken.
How long do you want it adjourned?
Wow.
A couple weeks.
That was
a couple weeks, yeah.
I'll adjourn this to July 17th,
That's some
2024,
withdrawal.
9 a.m. or as your invite indicates. You make sure to keep in contact with your attorneys. Okay? And then you have to, what I'm going to do, because I want to make sure you're not drinking and don't go backwards. You got to report over to community corrections. They're going to put you on a SoberLink device, which that means you're going to have to blow into a device 3 times a day.
A day? Did you say a day?
A day. You have 3 different times that you got to blow into this machine, because I'm going to make sure you're not drinking, because I don't want you going back, because I've been seeing you for a while and you're looking a whole lot better by not drinking.
Thank you.
You got it?
Yeah, I feel a whole lot better.
Okay. I want you staying that way. So we'll see you in a couple weeks, and then I sign the order. You got to get a SoberLink device.
When do I start going to report to the whatever the place is?
Community corrections?
Yes.
Okay, when you're released, you need to go over there and do that. Will they bring him a SoberLink before you? Okay. So I want the SoberLink prior to release, so they'll bring it to you. Okay?
And
So that
they'll tell you how to use it.
Yeah, okay.
And I'll talk to Leah from Avalon too and make sure she knows. Social worker.
I got you.
Okay.
Got you.
Okay, and your bond to be set at a personal recognizance, $25,000 bond. Okay? All right. See you in a couple of weeks. Court calls case People versus Candace Allen.
Conrad Silver on behalf of Pittsfield Township.
Good morning, Assistant Public Defender Lauren Kearney on behalf of Ms. Allen, who I believe is on Zoom, Your Honor.
Yeah. Hello, Miss Allen.
She's got a Michigan medicine shirt on.
Candace Allen.
Did you run it?
Yeah, that's what I was waiting for the printer. Yes.
All right. Okay, what are we doing?
We have come to, I just didn't want to interrupt.
That's just change. Go ahead.
Of course. We have come to a resolution. Ms. Allen is going to plead no contest as charged under prosecutor's deferred.
That's correct, Your Honor. She is approved for prosecutor's deferred sentence.
And please raise your right hand. You solemnly swear or affirm testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes.
State your name again for the record.
Candace Allen.
All right. Ma'am, it's of course understanding that you're going to plead no contest to the charge of retail fraud under the Pittsfield Township Ordinance. Is that correct?
Yes.
That is a misdemeanor. It is punishable by up to 90 days, $500 fine plus court cost. You understand that?
Yes.
Do you understand what a no contest plea is?
Yeah.
All right, two things about it. I have to make sure that you understand it. First of all, it means that you're not further desirous or wanting to contest this charge. You understand that?
Yeah.
Second thing you need to understand is that for purposes of sentencing, the court will treat you the same as though you had pled guilty. You understand that?
Yeah.
Understanding all of that, you do still wish to plead no contest. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Basis for the no contest plea?
Just for the liability.
And so, ma'am, to that charge, how do you plead?
No contest.
Now, you understand that by pleading no contest, you'll not have a trial of any kind.
Yeah.
Because of that, you're giving up certain rights. You're giving up your right to call witnesses to speak to you at trial or to have this court compel their attendance. You're giving up your right to see, hear, and question all witnesses against you at trial. You're also giving up your right to be a witness for yourself or to remain silent, not have that silence used against you. And you're giving up your right to be presumed innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. You understand that?
Yeah.
You understand you're giving up your right to appeal of rank?
Yeah.
Are you on probation or parole?
Never.
Never?
Has anybody promised you anything other than what's been stated here today on the record to get you to plead?
No.
All right.
Has anybody threatened you
We're
or
about to come
coerced
back
you?
to court here.
No.
You're doing this voluntarily and of your own free will?
Yeah.
Court has been provided and has reviewed.
All right, we're going to jump back. We've got a
Department
feed.
of Public Safety.
That's my duck timer. Ignore the duck sound. It's my phone. Right, we're back. The break is over. The jury should be brought in here in just a couple minutes.
I don't know about that. I just am I'm a fast talker. So then I feel like
These bailiffs are chatty, very chatty.
I was just like, because it's just like, I was trying to talk slower, but it's so unnatural. Because you know how I talk. I don't know if it's sure, but I'm trying to painfully. I know, I'm just trying not.
Debbie M., the court from yesterday, the guy was offered a plea deal. I think he rejected it. He ended up getting, well, I'm not sure. No, he ended up getting 20 years, I believe. 20 years for 2 pounds of meth. Fall, you got rolled. I think my kids paid half that for this one. Very noisy court. Judge is back. Everyone behave.
Go back on the record.
It's funny you should say that. Okay, the state has rested. The judgment of acquittal motions were made, argued eloquently. Judge denied both of them. Meant there was sufficient evidence to support both the charges, and that evidence should go to the jury for them to decide. So now we're proceeding. It's going to be the state's case when the jury comes back. They may or may not have evidence, witnesses to present. If they do, the only person they'll have is the defendant himself testifying in his own defense. I think the best thing he could say right now is it wasn't my bike, but he apparently will not be testifying in his own defense. We also don't know what happened to the rest on the body cam, so they're off. You know, that officer has not been excused, so he would be brought back on rebuttal if the witness did say something that didn't match what happened in the rest of that video. But let's bring the.
I've got the instructions.
Not from the state, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
Oh, consulting the law book or the phone book, one of the two. Calling for pizza, getting some lunch in here. Not quite sure what. Karina,
I'm ready.
Karina, you look so great.
If you will bring the jury.
Jury's coming back in here. The cocaine was found in a black garbage bag that was hanging on the handlebars of a bicycle that was on the porch behind the defendant on an abandoned house. The defendant was sitting at a table on that porch. In his pocket, he had a baggie of what appeared to be, what smelled like, what looked like, and what apparently, I don't know, did he say tasted like? Marijuana, in a ball of marijuana. It was never tested. So it could have been hemp. Just saying. The expert said it could have been hemp as well. The cocaine was found inside the bag, in the black bag, like a Crown Royale bag or something. So there was like a bag within a bag, and inside that bag there was 3 cartons of cigarettes inside one of the cartons of cigarettes. Oh, we just went back in time.
Jurors entering.
I don't know how that happens. That was cool. It's like deja vu all over again. I swear that happened just a moment ago. Anyway, one of the cartons of cigarettes had a little baggie which apparently had cocaine in it. It was tiny. It was small. The baggie was taken in custody. We saw it on the video, the body cam. He said, "Where did you get this?"
We can have a seat.
It was tested for cocaine. I don't know what the weight is. I didn't.
Ms. Joe, you may call your first witness.
Defense rests.
Ladies and gentlemen,
now we're on to the
both
closings.
the state and the defendant have now rested their
After
case.
instructions.
The attorneys now will present their final arguments. Please remember that what the attorneys say is not evidence or your instruction on the law. However, do listen closely to their arguments. They are intended to aid you in understanding the case. Each side will have equal time, but the state is entitled to divide this time between the opening argument and a rebuttal argument after the defense has given its closing argument. Ms. McAfee, whenever you're ready.
State goes first and possibly last if they choose to. They might do it all in one go on this one.
Members of the jury, you have now heard all of the evidence in this case. As you remember, when we talked to jury selection and during the opening statement earlier this morning, I said that I would come back before you and we would go over a little bit of the elements that I would have to prove this case. As for the possession of cocaine charge, I would have to prove that the defendant, Gerald Gary, possessed a substance, and then that substance was cocaine.
Did you prove possession?
Ladies and gentlemen, there is no doubt as to what that substance is. You heard from the FDLE analyst that that substance was cocaine. The only question could be whether the defendant possessed that cocaine. You heard from Officer Michael that it was on the bike that was behind him. He was the only one there. It was a vacant house. But more importantly, you heard it from Mr. Gary himself. When you heard on the body cam, it's for personal use. When asked where he got it from, I can't tell you exactly who I got it from. I got it out here on these streets. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the case. I told you that I would come before you and ask you to find the defendant guilty as charged. At this moment, there is no reasonable doubt as to those things. You heard it yourself.
Ms. Jewell?
Wow, she sort of left it hanging there. I was expecting more of a mic drop.
All right, let's just go back across real quick. Let's start with our first witness, Ms. Cuff. Here's what, because I told you in my opening, evidence, conflicts in the evidence, lack of evidence. She's where our lack of evidence is. As far as the person who was walking through her yard, what you didn't hear is that it was Mr. Gary. She never identified him. Never identified any clothing, anything. The person she saw walking through her yard, and she said he came through the backyard. And I want to point that out. If it is Mr. Gary, they were walking. There was no bicycle. So the person she saw and that she said was him, there was no bicycle. Then we get to Officer Michael. And we have 2 counts here. We have the possession of cocaine. We also have possession of marijuana. After a little bit of questioning, he did admit to you that he can only assume that because he's not an expert, can't say and can't determine. So I went ahead and asked our FDLE expert, who, by the way, did not have this substance to test at all. And she explained to you why it's necessary before you can call something marijuana that it has to be tested, because no differentiation between it and the legal hemp. So hemp is legal in the state of Florida. Marijuana is not. You have to test it to determine which one it is, because by sight and by smell, you cannot have any differentiation. She is an expert. She can't do it. No matter how much you're around it, that designation can't be made without testing. So as to count 2, that has not been proven to you. That's a lack of evidence.
LAB, thanks for the gifted membership. Congratulations, Lauren.
Now, you didn't see any pictures of where the bicycle was on this porch or what the porch looked like. You saw a video. It was assumed that the bicycle belonged to him. And the state has to actually prove possessed a substance. And the judge is going to read you the jury instructions. I'm looking at him right here. They've got to prove that he knew of the existence of the substance and intentionally exercised control over it. Now, that's for you to determine whether he intentionally exercised control over it, because this was on a bicycle that nobody has connected to him at this point. And when something is pulled out, maybe he can recognize stuff the same way law enforcement can. Maybe he was exercising control over it. Well, maybe he wasn't either. That's for you to determine, because for him to exercise control over it, sometimes you forget you have something until it's pointed out to you.
That's a bad
But
argument.
sometimes it's not yours because where it came from isn't yours. There was no connection made with that bicycle, which is where this was, in a bag inside of something else. Remember how many things that Officer Michael said he went through before he got to it. It was in a cigarette pack inside on bike. So those are the determinations you have to make. And so what I would be asking you to do is go back in your head, talk amongst each other about what actually was proven, and it has to be proven beyond and to the exclusion of a reasonable doubt. Otherwise, the only just verdict that you can make is not guilty. Thank you.
Ms. Mack?
Little rebuttal. I would jump all over that. Sometimes you forget you have something. That doesn't
Ladies and gentlemen,
exempt
Miss
anything.
Jewel talked to you a little bit about what Ms. Cuff had testified to. Ms. Cuff just told you guys why she called the police. Doesn't have a dog in the fight. Just said why the police were called there and let you know that that house was vacant. As for who was walking through her yard, that is not an element that I have to prove of who was walking through her yard. As we talked in jury selection, we all agreed that the things that the state has to prove are the elements and nothing more. You may have more questions. We talked about that at jury selection as well. You may have more questions, but that is not one of the elements of who was walking through her yard. What you heard from Officer Ryan Michael that the person who was on the porch was the defendant, Gerald Gary. You heard that the person who had the cocaine was the defendant, Gerald Gary. When we're talking about possession, we talked about that at jury selection too. We talked about how you can possess things that you aren't currently holding. We talked about things in your car in the parking lot. You can still possess them. You can still exercise control over them, even though they're not with you at that moment. We talked a little bit about that being constructive possession versus actual possession. That's what we have here in this case. when you're asking yourself whether the defendant knew of the substance, well, I'll go back and let you hear it for yourself. Madam Clerk, may I have the screens?
This is the worst body cam ever. Edited, chopped up. I'll get out of the way so you can watch.
Anything you say can and will be cannot afford to hire a lawyer. One will be appointed to represent you before any questioning if you wish. You can decide at any time to exercise these rights and not answer any questions or make any statements. Do you understand the rights that I have read you? Okay. With these rights in mind, are you willing to talk to me?
Did he respond?
I just said.
Where'd you get it?
Where'd you get it?
Don't tell me you don't know where, man. Come on, don't pull that on me. I know I look young, dude, but I've been doing this for a while. Okay.
That I can't tell you. He was that where I got it. Yes, sir.
Where though? Where though?
I mean, that has been allowed to
have this. You got to get it somewhere, man. All right?
Out in the streets. I mean,
out here in the streets. Why can't you tell me?
Like I said, because it's been a while since I had it. I mean, it's personal use.
I don't know about you.
It's personal use. Yeah, he's sort of admitted to ownership there.
Where did
I
you
think.
get it? Well, I can't tell you exactly who I got it from. Got it out here in these streets. It's for personal use. Ladies and gentlemen, it's for personal use. That is an intent to control that substance. He knows what it is, and he intends to use it personally for his own personal use.
He didn't say it was for my personal
When
use.
you
Might have been for
become
someone else's
members of the
personal
jury,
use.
we ask you to give up a lot of things, a lot of preconceived notions, but one of the things that we don't ask you to give up is your common sense. Your common sense is the thing that you can take back into the jury room with you. What you didn't hear was, that's not mine. You heard, it's for personal use. Ladies and gentlemen, I stand before you and ask you to deliver the only just verdict, which is to find the defendant, Gerald Gary, guilty as charged.
That's a little better finish. Now we get some jury instructions, and we will go on straight to deliberation.
Members of the jury, I thank you for your attention during this trial. Please pay attention to the instructions I'm about to give you. Gerald LaShawn Gary, the defendant in this case, has been accused of the crime of possession of cocaine and possession of marijuana. Certain drugs and chemical substances are by law known as controlled substances. Cocaine is a controlled substance. To prove the crime of possession of a controlled substance, the state must prove the following two elements beyond a reasonable doubt. Gerald LaShawn Gary possessed a substance. The substance was cocaine. To prove Gerald LaShawn Gary possessed a substance, the state must prove beyond a reasonable doubt that he A, knew of the existence of the substance, and B, intentionally exercised control over that substance. Control can be exercised over a substance, whether the substance is carried on a person, near a person, or in a completely separate location. Mere proximity to a substance does not establish that the person intentionally exercised control over the substance in the absence of an additional evidence. Control can be established by proof that Gerald LaShawn Gary had direct personal power to control the substance or the present ability to direct his control by another. Certain drugs and chemical substances are by law known as controlled substances. Marijuana is a controlled substance. To prove the crime of possession of a controlled substance, the state must prove the following two elements beyond a reasonable doubt. Gerald LaShawn Gary possessed a substance. The substance was marijuana. Possession has previously been defined. Control has previously been defined. Cannabis means all parts of any plant of the genus cannabis, whether growing or not, and the seeds thereof, but does not include any resin extracted from the plant. The defendant has entered a plea of not guilty. This means you must presume or believe the defendant is innocent. The presumption stays with the defendant as to each material allegation and information through each stage of the trial, unless it has been overcome by the evidence to the exclusion of and beyond a reasonable doubt.
Krista, we try for 8:30
To
or
overcome the
8:45.
defendant's
I'm
presumption
always
of
late.
innocence, the state has the burden of proving the crime with which the defendant is charged was committed, and the defendant is the person who committed the crime. The defendant is not required to present evidence or prove anything. Whenever the words reasonable doubt are used, you must consider the following. A reasonable doubt is not a mere possible doubt, a speculative, imaginary, or forced doubt. Such a doubt must not influence you to return a verdict of not guilty if you have an abiding conviction of guilt. On the other hand, if, after carefully considering, comparing, and weighing all the evidence, there's not an abiding conviction of guilt, or having a conviction, it is one which is not stable, or one which wavers and vacillates, then the charge is not proved beyond every reasonable doubt, and you must find the defendant not guilty because the doubt is reasonable. It is to the evidence introduced in this trial and to it alone that you're to look for that proof. A reasonable doubt as to the guilt of the defendant may arise from the evidence, conflict in the evidence, or the lack of evidence. If you have a reasonable doubt, you should find the defendant not guilty. If you have no reasonable doubt, you should find the defendant guilty. It is up to you to decide what evidence is reliable. You should use your common sense in deciding which is the best evidence and which evidence should not be relied upon in considering your verdict. You may find some of the evidence not reliable or less reliable than other evidence. You should consider how the witness acted as well as what they said. Some things you should consider are, did the witness seem to have an opportunity to see and know the things about which the witness testified? Did the witness seem to have an accurate memory? Was the witness honest and straightforward in answering the attorney's questions? Did the witness have some interest in how the case should be decided? Does the witness's testimony agree with the other testimony and other evidence in the case?
Julie, congratulations on 12 months.
Whether the state has met its burden of proof does not depend upon the number of witnesses it has called or upon the number of exhibits it has offered, but instead upon the nature and quality of the evidence presented. The fact that a witness is employed in law enforcement does not mean that his testimony deserves more or less consideration than that of any other witness. It is entirely proper for a lawyer to talk to a witness about what testimony the witness would give if called to the courtroom. The witness should not be discredited by talking to a lawyer about his or her testimony. You may rely upon your own conclusion about the credibility of any witness. A juror may believe or disbelieve all or any part of the evidence or the testimony of any witness.
Sweet Tat, 5 months. Happy 4th of July to you as well.
Counsel approach.
Uh-oh, judge found an error. Judge found an error. We have an issue with the jury instructions. I thought we went over this. You guys said it was good. I found errors. Now there's another error. You can't blame it on me. You guys didn't find it either. Steve, it's just been hung jury after hung jury. It seems more. Remember how we went like for 6 months and didn't have any hung juries? And I was wondering what it would actually be like to have a hung jury on the.
Ladies and gentlemen, you just come on. I left something out of the instructions that I just discovered, and I had to find it, put it in there.
Ooh, he took something out he needs to put back. Whoopsies. Remember when the just recently the juries had to what was this? This was when the guy with the tattooed face, the Joker face, Wade Wilson, that's his name. In his trial, the jury instruction was read incorrectly, and I think they had to bring the jury back after they started deliberating and rereading the whole thing. Wasn't that trial, or was it a different one? I may have mixed it up. Judge is going to copy and paste something really quickly, stick it in the jury instructions. Glad he caught it now. Before the appeal. Dallas-born, Boston-bred, member for 17 months, says 420 should not be a crime. Happy 4th, y'all. There you go. Congratulations on 17 months. We do have an interesting situation where in the United States, there are state laws and federal laws, and not all the states agree, but many of the states allow recreational or medicinal use of marijuana. Federally, it was a crime. That I think there's been some talk about that being changed federally. If it changes federally, I think it would change across the nation pretty much. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I haven't followed that. Obviously, I don't have a personal interest in that part, but I know other people do. So we'll see. There's talk of it changing. There's change in the air, along with a little bit of purple smoke. Not actually purple, but man, the guy saw colored chickens fighting. I guess that was alcohol withdrawal. Crazy.
Shame on you, sir.
Shame, shame, shame.
This is not Burger King. People do not get to have it their way.
Yes, for those that are new here, those sound effects are triggered by you guys with commands like this. Whopper triggers that sound effect from Judge Stephanie Boyd. We have a lot of fun sound effects that we get to play with. When it's a lighthearted court like this, I leave the sounds up. When it's a serious court, we turn
subject matter jurisdiction.
We turn sounds like that down. While the judge is thinking, I'll make him a little louder. Oh, I like this one.
Somebody just sent me a video of roaches fighting. I don't know who won.
Yes, that's a good one. That's how bad it is in court. You get to watch roaches fighting in your cell.
The zombie apocalypse may be upon us.
Yes, that zombie apocalypse was when she said, tell the lawyer to get down here and tell him his client has a Grateful Dead shirt on.
Because he's the guy.
I'm not a cat.
You're talking about stuff that is not relevant.
All the sound
Have
effects.
them send someone with more experience.
All the sound effects are being triggered.
Shame on you, sir.
Each sound effect can only be triggered about once a minute.
I'm not a camel.
Okay, here we go. Judge is coming back. Let's see if he's he's
Scratch all that. Oh, that was terrible. I apologize.
Something.
Squirrel.
If the feds legalized marijuana, look at all the cases where they would just release people.
Alex stole it as well.
All the people who are in jail for possession of marijuana. Wouldn't all those cases be looked at? Like,
Are we going to address subject matter jurisdiction?
mass release, an expungement of records? Where's the list? The list is impartial. Some of the things you just don't know about. Sometimes I'll make a hidden command and not tell you about it, and then somebody will find it. But
For the record, I don't consent to that name.
what was the request for a soundbite this morning? Oh, the colored chickens, right? I'll see if I can
Have
pull
them send someone with
colored
more
chickens really
experience.
quickly.
Shame on you, sir.
Actually, I can't because I'm recording. I'm recording on camera
Somebody
8
just
right
sent
now.
me a video
And
of
if I open
roaches
up
fighting. I don't know who won.
If
This
I-
is not Burger King. People do not get to have it their way.
if I open up the video editor, it cuts off that recording.
How does he do that?
The zombie apocalypse may be upon us.
Trying to think of which one you guys have not used recently.
I was kicked back, taking it easy.
Maybe you've forgotten about one. Let me check the list really quickly.
I object.
Object.
Don't miss the forest for the trees.
That's a good one.
Is that correct?
Can you send it?
Squirrel.
When are we going to break for lunch, Judge?
Peeps. Buffer's the only one that's only reserved for mods.
Now in session.
I'm not a cat.
Easy. I think
Have
party.
them send someone with more experience.
Party's turned off right now because it's annoying. It sounds like this. Oh, it's turned off so it won't work.
I was kicked back, taking it easy.
That's party sound.
more do you need to see?
There's more.
I'm not a camel.
Is that the printer we hear? It sounds like someone's kicking the desk. What's oops? What does oops do?
Don't miss the forest for the trees. Scratch all that. Oh, that was terrible. I apologize.
That's it. Okay.
Have them
Scratch
send
all that.
someone with more experience.
Yeah, I think you guys have hit them all. I don't think I've got many others that you haven't used. So, good work. Great memory, everybody.
Shame on you, sir.
Shame on you, sir.
Somebody just sent me a video of roaches fighting. I don't know who won.
I object.
Appropriate answers only. What would the command be for the colored chickens? I saw colored chickens fighting. What would the
Bring the
exclamation
jury.
point be for that one?
How does he do that?
Colored chickens, CC. Chicks. Chicken fight works. I think one of the options is was one of the banned words. Chick. I think chick would be good. Or chickens. Chickens is good.
And now let Murdoch
Cluck.
stole it.
Let's do cluck. Cluck.
You got it? Just bring me any objection to me reading it from our laptop?
No, Your Honor.
Bring it up to me and we can supplement it, please.
Talons. Polo. Oh, polo is good. We'll do cluck. Okay, let me build that. I like polo because that's got a.
I'll start. Whether the state has met its burden of proof does not depend upon the number of witnesses it is called,
It's got like a
or
Breaking
upon the
Bad
number of
reference.
exhibits it has offered, but instead upon the nature and quality of the evidence presented. The fact that a witness is employed in law enforcement does not mean that his testimony deserves more or less consideration than that of any other witness. It is entirely proper for a lawyer to talk to a witness about what testimony the witness would give if called to the courtroom. The witness should not be discredited by talking to a lawyer about his or her testimony. You may rely upon your own conclusion about the credibility of any witness. A juror may believe or disbelieve all or any part of the evidence or the testimony by any witness. Expert witnesses are like other witnesses, with one exception. The law permits an expert witness to give her opinion. However, an expert's opinion is reliable only when given on a subject about which you believe her to be an expert. Like other witnesses, you may believe or disbelieve all or any part of an expert's testimony.
Now print that off because they need that copy when they go back to deliberate.
The Constitution requires the state to prove its accusations against the defendant. It is not necessary for the defendant to disprove anything, nor is the defendant required to prove his innocence. It is up to the state to prove the defendant's guilt by evidence. The defendant exercised a fundamental right by choosing not to be a witness in this case. You must not view this as an admission of guilt or be influenced in any way by his decision. No juror should ever be concerned that the defendant did or did not take the witness stand to give testimony in the case. You may find the defendant guilty as charged or not guilty. The verdict must be unanimous. That is, all of you must agree to the same verdict. Only one verdict may be returned as to the crime charged. The verdict must be in writing, and for your convenience, the necessary verdict form has been prepared for you. It is as follows. Verdict. We, the jury, find as follows as to the defendant in this case. Check only one. The defendant is guilty of possession of cocaine. B, the defendant is not guilty. That's count one. As to count two, the defendant is guilty of possession of marijuana. The defendant is not guilty. Dated and signed by the foreperson. In just a few moments, you will be taken to the jury room by the bailiff. The first thing you should do is choose a foreperson who will preside over your deliberations. The foreperson should see to it that your discussions are carried on in an organized way and that everyone has a fair chance to be heard. It is also the foreperson's job to sign and date the verdict form when all of you have agreed on the verdict and to bring the verdict form back to the courtroom when you return. During deliberation, jurors must communicate about the case only with one another and only when all jurors are present in the jury room. If a juror goes to the restroom, the deliberation should stop until the juror returns. You are not to communicate with any person outside the jury about this case until you've reached a verdict. You must not talk about this case in person or through the telephone, writing, or electronic communication, such as a blog, Twitter, email, text message, or any other means. Do not contact anyone to assist you during deliberation. These communication rules apply until I discharge you at the end of the case. If you become aware of any violation of these instructions or any other instructions I have given in this case, you must tell me by giving a note to the bailiff. Many of you have cell phones, tablets, laptops, or other electronic devices here in the courtroom, including smartwatches. The rules do not allow you to bring your phones or any of those types of electronic devices into the jury room. Kindly leave those devices on your seats or they will be guarded by the bailiff while you deliberate. They will be secured. If you need to communicate with me, send a note to the bailiff. If you have voted, do not disclose the actual vote in the note. If you have a question, I will talk with the attorneys before I answer, so it may take some time. You may continue your deliberations while you wait for my answer. I will answer any questions, if I can, in writing or orally here in open court. During the trial, items will receive into evidence as exhibits. You may examine whatever exhibits you think will help you in your deliberation. These exhibits will be sent to the jury room with you when you begin to deliberate. In closing, let me remind you that it is important that you follow the law spelled out in these instructions in deciding your verdict. There are no other laws that apply to this case. Even if you do not like the laws that must be applied, you must use them. For more than 2 centuries, we have lived by the Constitution and the law. No juror has the right to violate the rules we all share. This vacuuming, Ms. Jewell, those accurately reflect the instructions agreed upon by the parties.
Yes, Your Honor.
Give me just one moment.
All right. I think we're
All right,
almost
ladies
done.
and gentlemen, in just a moment, you'll be taken back into the jury room by Deputy Dexter with these instructions and your verdict form. All right, see, Miss Carbolito? Yes, you are our alternate, so you will not go back and deliberate. We have to have 6 jurors, and because we pick all the jurors on Monday, many times we have to use alternates during the trial. So you have provided a great service. I'll let the rest of you know that because one time I sent jurors back without telling them why the other juror was not coming back, and they waited 45 minutes to start deliberations because they were waiting for all the jurors to be there. So you can begin deliberations whenever you're settled. Deputy Dexter, if you'll take this and the jurors, remember to take your notepads with you, leave your pocketbooks or your electronic devices in your seat, be secured by the Bay County Sheriff's Office. Deputy Dexter, can you go ahead and take the evidence back? They want to examine it. All right. Remember to take your notepads, leave your pocketbooks, electronic devices in your seat.
Can you get text messages on that?
But I'll leave it.
All right. We are going to start the timer for the stopwatch. And it looks like it starts about...
Everyone can have a seat.
Now.
Yeah, thank you so much for your service.
So we do have a timer. It looks like this.
Do these trials without jurors, do not do them without alternate jurors. Many times I've run out of jurors when they are trial. You are free to stay in the courtroom or you're free to leave and go about your week. Have a happy 4th.
And now something this court does normally is they just kill the feed. So
everyone can have a seat. Counsel, thank you for a well-tried case. We'll wait for the jurors.
Oops. Come on, box 2. Box 1 is 8. Box 2 is 3. Why is that not working? Come on. Box 1 is 8. Oh, super source. Here we go. There we go. Okay, of course, I got it fixed right when they killed the feed, so now we're done. We're going to wait. I will keep watching that court. Let's see, what else do we have going on right now? We have Judge Cedric Simpson is still alive. We're going to go back and jump with him while the jury deliberates. It should not take long. Should not take long at all. So I'll keep you
This is an arraignment.
We're going to close out the poll first and then open another poll as well. We've got 74% currently saying that jury's coming back with a guilty.
What?
Next poll is going to be how long will the jury deliberate?
Hello?
Hello.
Hello. Your name, sir?
It's Dante.
All right. Why is this on my docket?
Why is Dante here?
I did check his driving record. He does have a valid license now.
But didn't at the time.
Didn't at the time.
Okay.
So I would agree to allow him to admit double parking today if he wants to resolve the case that way.
Is that what you want to do, sir?
I didn't hear what he said.
You need to turn a camera on.
It's not allowed. Hello?
Well, I'm gonna have to adjourn it. You're gonna have to come down because I can't withdraw a plea or do anything what you're requesting. I'm not gonna do that without having a camera on. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna adjourn this to July 17th, 2024, 9 a.m. in person.
There you go.
Can I try to leave and reload my screen? Hello?
Sir, I'm not doing anything today.
Can you hear me?
I'm adjourning it out. You'll need to come down to the court. I've got to be able to see you to hear your motion. Thank you.
But can you hear me? It's like, oh, we can hear you. But judge is not playing that game
you may
today.
square the friendship.
Good morning, Interpreter. You're in front of the Honorable J. Cedric Simpson out of the 14A District Court, Washtenaw County, State of Michigan. Can you please unmute, turn on your camera, and raise your right hand to be sworn? Thank you, ma'am.
He was just having technical difficulties.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that you will interpret accurately, completely, and impartially, using your best skill and judgment, and to translate from English into French and from French into English? I do that. Thank you.
All right. Good afternoon, Madam Interpreter.
Good afternoon.
The court does call the case of the people of Pittsfield versus Ibrahima Diko.
Le tribunal appelle le dossier de civil contre Monsieur Ibrahima Diko.
Oui, bonjour.
Yes, hello.
Conrad Siller for Pittsfield Township.
Conrad Siller pour le comté de Pittsfield.
Lauren Perny for the defendant.
Lauren Perny pour le défendeur.
Oui.
Yes.
Yes.
I got the we parts.
Your Honor, we are requesting an adjournment.
Votre Honneur, on fait une demande d'un ajournement.
We demand adjournment.
Mr. Diko is trying to get his license, but has been dealing with some medical issues that have interrupted his appointments at Secretary of State.
Monsieur Diko, il essaye d'avoir son permis de conduire, mais il a des problèmes de santé médicale, donc des rendez-vous qui ont interrompu le fait qu'il puisse aller au bureau social, secrétaire d'État.
Oui, madame.
Yes, ma'am.
C'est ça qui m'embête beaucoup.
This is what bothers me a lot.
The court will adjourn the matter to August 7th, 2024, 9 a.m., or as your invite indicates.
Le tribunal va ajourner l'audience au 7 août 2024 à 13 heures, à moins que ce soit indiqué autrement.
OK. S'il vous plaît, j'ai quelque chose à mentionner.
Please, I would like to say something.
Yes, sir.
Oui, monsieur.
J'ai le rendez-vous à l'hôpital central de Ann Arbor, Michigan. Alors, peut-être ils vont opérer, ils vont me faire opérer ou je ne sais pas, mais on m'a dit d'aller le 11 de ce mois-ci et ils vont voir encore parce que j'ai fait 2 radiographies.
I have an appointment with Central Hospital, Ann Arbor, Michigan. I might undergo surgery. I don't know yet, but my appointment is the 11th of this month. Then they will assess it. I already have 2 x-rays.
If your medical appointments conflict with the next court date, we will get in touch with the court, Mr. Dico.
Monsieur Dico, si votre rendez-vous médical, il est en conflit avec votre audience au tribunal, on sera en contact avec le tribunal.
C'est gentil, merci beaucoup. C'est très, très gentil.
It's nice. Thank you very much. It's very nice of you.
The Spanish interpreter's like, yeah, I'm
Thank
better
you.
than this.
Merci.
Merci.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Interpreter. Always a
Yeah.
pleasure.
You have a great day, everybody.
You
Bye.
too.
There's a Spanish interpreter. Neighbors.
Do we have the defendant?
Yes.
Okay, yes, go ahead.
Good afternoon, Madam Interpreter. You're in front of the Honorable J. Cedric Simpson out of the 14A District Court, State of Michigan. Our number this morning is 1423.
Thank you.
Oh, she's got a blue screen behind her.
I'm sorry, you're breaking up.
Can you please raise your right hand to be sworn? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that you will interpret accurately, completely, and impartially, using your best skill and judgment, and to translate from English into Spanish and from Spanish into English in the manner now before the court to help you that?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
And good afternoon, Madam Interpreter.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Court does call the case of the people of Pittsfield Township versus Neri Castro Lopez.
La corte está llamando de Pittsburgh, está llamando a la corte de Neri Castro López.
Siller for Pittsfield Township.
If you didn't hear that,
breaking
man,
up. No, I
it's
didn't.
okay.
Yeah.
Conrad Siller for Pittsfield Township.
Conrad Siller para de parte de la ciudad de Pittsburgh.
Assistant Public Defender Natalie Pate with and on behalf of Mr. Castro Lopez. Please state your name for the record, sir.
Y la asistente del fiscal Natalie Page de parte del señor Castro, por favor diga su nombre.
Mi nombre es Neri Gerardo Castro López.
Neri Gerardo Castro López.
Thank you, Your Honor. We are respectfully requesting a 1 to 2 month adjournment. To my understanding, Mr. Castro Lopez still does have 1 suspension for failing to comply with the judgment, and he believes that he will be able to get that paid, his suspension paid within that time.
Su señoría, nosotros respetuosamente estamos solicitando de 1 a 2 meses de hacer suspensión o hacer la pausa de este evento. Vemos de que el señor López tiene todavía una suspensión y creemos que en este tiempo él puede estar haciendo el pago de este para poder pagar en su hacer el pago.
Matter is adjourned to September 4th, 2024, 9 a.m.
Y este asunto va a estar suspendido hasta septiembre 4 a las septiembre 4 a las 9 de la mañana.
And they're done, just like that. Just buffered into nothing. Let's see if we have anybody else that is live. Oh, they came back. They came back. We're good.
Hasta septiembre 4, septiembre 4 a las 9 de la mañana.
Nope, they froze. This is not the court shutting down the feed. This is the court's internet stopping working. Do you see that? Now you can watch fishing movies. That's it. Is she reading Google Translate? That would be funny if she was. What a hack. What a great life hack. Of course, it's probably hard to get certified, but once you're in, you could probably use Google Translate to take care of your day-to-day translation stuff. Let's see. Still no verdict. We're past the 10-minute mark. Let me actually stop the poll. Oh, we're back. Hang on. We're going to go to 3 in just a second. Come on. It's taking forever to load. Okay, we're back with camera 3.
39, 230.
If they had a verdict, it would have been 12 minutes, 30 seconds.
Yes, I let the judge know.
I have a question, though.
Because Ruth is awesome.
39, 235. Try this.
Yeah, he was like.
Remain seated, come to it. All right.
Oh, Brian the big guy.
I think it's a question. He's got his book out.
I haven't seen you tackle anybody in the courtroom recently. I've missed it.
Man.
Do we play the verdict music? The defendant's not here yet. So they can't have a verdict yet.
You knew I was coming to check on him.
Looks like defendant's going to be back in right now. There he is. Twelve and a half minutes. Mary, yes, we have had some people rented the Airbnb. We've got some showing up. Oh crap! This week, I think they're showing
Here's
up.
present back in the courtroom. We ready to bring the jurors back in?
Yes, Your Honor.
Deputy Dexter, whenever you're ready.
I'm going to play the music. After what appears to be the shortest deliberation in the channel's history, it appears we may have a verdict in this hard-hitting drug case out of the panhandle of Florida. A pocket full of weed and a baggie with cocaine might be sending this gentleman to jail. Does the jury believe the three witnesses?
Jurors enter.
Jury's entering now. Expressionless, no eye contact made with the defendant because the defendant is not looking at the jury. Longest portion of this case.
Ladies
The
and
judge
gentlemen,
reading the
I have the
instructions.
verdict. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Yes.
They have reached a verdict.
Go ahead, the verdict form to Deputy Dexter.
Jury's handing the verdict form to the judge, who will look it over and make sure everything is done correctly.
Got it. Thank you.
Drops it briefly, picks it back up. Looks complete. Hands it back to the
You'll
deputy.
publish the verdict.
Publish the verdict.
In the Circuit Court of the 14th Judicial Circuit in Fort Bend County, Florida, case number 234410 CF, State of Florida versus Gerald LaShawn Gary. We, the jury, find as follows as the defendant in this case. The defendant is guilty of possession of cocaine. Count 2. The defendant is not guilty. To say we all, dated July 3rd, 2024, foreperson, Timothy Nelson.
Split verdict. Guilty of cocaine, not guilty of
Y'all
marijuana.
have a seat.
The state
Madam
failed to
Clerk,
prove
the
that it was
poll,
actually
please.
marijuana in his possession.
Mr. Anderson, is this your verdict?
Yes, please.
Ms. Davis, is this your verdict?
It is.
Mr. Nelson, is this your verdict?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Chavenberger, is this your verdict?
Yes, please.
Mr. Wood, is this your verdict?
Yes, ma'am.
And Mr. Hayes, is this your verdict?
Yes.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I wish to thank you for your time and consideration of this case. I also wish to advise you of some very special privileges enjoyed by jurors. No juror can ever be required to talk about the discussions that occurred in the jury room except by court order. For many centuries, our society has relied upon juries for consideration of difficult cases. We have recognized for hundreds of years, that a jury's deliberations, discussion, and vote should remain their private affair as long as they wish it. Therefore, the law gives you the unique privilege not to speak about the jury's work. Although you're at liberty to speak with anyone about your deliberations, you are also at liberty to refuse to speak to anyone. A request to discuss either your verdict or your deliberations may come from those who are simply curious, from those who might seek to find fault with you, from the media, from the attorneys, or elsewhere. It will be up to you to decide whether to preserve your privacy as a juror. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your service. I know you all had somewhere else to be this week, but you put all that aside and made yourselves available for jury service and actually sat as a juror.
The hardest,
difficult cases.
hardest 20 minutes of your life.
Difficult thing. We certainly appreciate it. Our system of justice will come to a grinding halt without citizens such as yourself. With that being said, that concludes your jury service. Remember to leave your notepads in the courtroom. We'll destroy any notes you may have. Make sure you have all of your personal belongings, and if you'll call the Bay County Sheriff's Office, they will escort you to the department.
That was, thank you, no. Now get out of my courtroom. All of you, out of my, and take your stuff with you, is what he said. Get out of my courtroom. With my thanks. The alternate barely had a chance to leave the court. That was so quick.
Everyone can have a seat. Okay. Prepare for sentencing?
Yes, Your Honor.
Sentencing today. We're continuing immediately. Are there guidelines?
We're just correcting the score sheet, Your Honor.
So the jury believed he had possession of the cocaine, probably because of his admission. Had he not had that admission, I believe the jury would have gone not guilty on that as well. But possession of the cocaine, did not believe the substance which he had in his pocket was proven to be marijuana, although it likely was. I think the jury made the right decision on that charge and voted not guilty on the marijuana because it was not proven that it was marijuana according to Florida law. The expert also testified that she herself could not just look at it and see if it was marijuana or not. We've had sidebars last longer than this entire trial.
Ms. Joe, have you had an opportunity to review the score sheet?
Your Honor, I'm doing my way it is correct.
Okay.
12.9.
12.9 on the score sheet.
Ms. Joe, does Mr. Gary, would like to be heard prior to sentencing?
Your Honor, just the fact that he does score 12.9. The since it is a drug charge, court sends him to anything from DOC to treatment and probation, and Your Honor, we asked for a non-prison sentence. He has 146 days of credit.
146?
Yes.
He served 146 days in custody waiting for his day in court. Defense wants no prison time.
Reason for that is, as you heard earlier today on the record, Mr. Gary said that he does not have a drug problem when he was talking about lifelines who did not believe he was amenable to those kind of programs. Additionally, before he picked up this charge of possession of cocaine, he had gotten released from prison approximately 2 to 3 months prior to that for possession of cocaine with intent to distribute. The fact that he picked up with similar charges so quickly after his release from prison, I also believe he is not amenable to those drug treatment programs and would be asking for 2 years based on that.
Prior record's going to count against him in sentencing.
Is any restitution that the state's asking for?
No, Your Honor.
This time, consider the jury's verdict. And now it's my obligation to sentence Mr. Gary. At this time, Mr. Gary will be adjudicated guilty of possession of cocaine. He'll be sentenced to 18 months in the Florida Department of Corrections, given credit for 146 days time already served. He'll be assessed fines and costs of $1,078. Those include discretionary cost of $2 of local law enforcement education, a $65 assessment of additional court cost, a $150 discretionary public defender fee payment, a $50 drug abuse trust fund payment, and a $200 discretionary fine. The fines and costs are reduced to a civil judgment. There's no restitution applicable to the case. Is anything I've left off?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Gary, you have 30 days to file your notice of appeal. If you wish to appeal your judgment and sentence, if you'd like to have an attorney to represent you, you can't afford one. One may be appointed to represent you at no charge. Good luck to you, sir. You need to step up and be fingerprinted.
Plea deal would have given him 1 year, and instead, and just like that, the judge has already deleted the live stream. Instead of 1 year, he gets 18 months. And he gets credit for basically half a year that he's already served. But that is a tough one. He could have had a little bit less than what he got. But his prior record is pretty much what did him in there. That the prior service, the prior time he served was because of intent to distribute cocaine, the previous charge. And this was personal consumption amounts, but still not good. Don't talk to the police. That was, and the police didn't test his marijuana. They only went for the bigger charge. All right, we are. That could have gone either way. Honestly, I feel that could have gone either way. A jury, a different set of jurors, roll the dice, 6 other people. I think they could have seen, especially if they said that the state has not proven the circumstantial evidence, the fact that he had cocaine with him and that he had marijuana in his pocket, or presumed marijuana. If they decided that it was not proven it was marijuana, I think they would very close could have said that was not proven that he was in possession. Had he not had that comment saying it was personal use. Even that, I think a lawyer could have argued more effectively in his defense to say that that it didn't say it was his, and that's just somebody's personal use amount. I think there was an argument to be made there. Although I admit I don't have the full body cam footage and don't understand every word that was said there. All right, bummer. I was expecting, we got a split verdict. So now we've had a not guilty on Judge Brentley Clark's court. A not guilty, we've had a plea of no contest mid jury trial, and now we got a split verdict in a jury trial. So always interesting down here in the panhandle of Florida. All right, anything else going on that we need to talk about before we break for lunch? There might be something a little bit later. I'm just running around the board here. It looks like some things are happening in a couple different places.
Recently convicted of that one and served 4 years of prison.
Yeah, I'm not going to go to Fleischman. Let's see. Judge Cedric is off right now. Hey, whoa. Who's this guy? Who's that? Oh, no, that's the wrong one. It's more of the same. All right, looks like we're going to break for lunch, which is great. I'm by myself right now, which means I don't have anyone to make me a salad. Mrs. R.A. is taking the kids to Raleigh. They're going to be going to a museum there. I think we go to a museum there, and we're going to try to hit a museum on the first day of our trip in August. But the deal is, you buy the pass to the first museum, you get in the second museum free if it is more than 90 miles from the first museum and you are more than 90 miles from the second. I forget what the rules are. It's a weird law. It's not a law, it's a program that encourages people to travel to go to museums. But we're using that for our benefit. We're going to get an extra museum visit out of it. But I don't know. Keep your eyes out if there's a court case that's happening. You think we should jump in and follow, even if we need to rewind a little bit. Please let me know. We also have police chases. It's the weekend. It's a holiday weekend. Police chases are going to happen. More of them are happening. We might jump in with those as well. So hit the burner phone up if you hear something happens. I'll be alerted as well from some of the big police chase following news services. But hope you guys have a great lunch. Enjoy your lunch. Oh, why are we looking at that court? I'm not sure. We're back. All right. Tonight when you go home, please hug the people you love. Smile at someone. Make their day just a little bit better. And please stay safe till we go live again after lunch for a little bit of pre-4th of July celebration. Might throw some poppets around in the studio here. No, that would be bad for my equipment. How much do you pay for police chase monitoring services? They're free on Twitter. You just have to put up with X. So that's it. Big thank you to all our mods. Stay safe. Those of you who are in the path of the storm, please be careful. You guys will be back. Yes, we're coming back after lunch. We'll be back after lunch. We'll see you in a little bit. Have a good one. Bye.
Shame on you, sir.
Because he's the guy.